One more name to the list, Giants coach Tom Coughlin, stepping down after 12 years at the Meadowlands and 2 Super Bowl titles. The 69-year-old, coming off a third straight losing season, however, announced his decision after meeting with ownership on Monday. No change at the top for the Chargers. They're going to keep Mike McCoy, but they fired 6 of his assistants. The Colts not only didn't fire Chuck Pagano, they gave him a 4-year extension. This is the first time in Pagano's 4 years in Indianapolis that the Colts did not make the playoffs. So it's the Giants, Browns, 49ers, Eagles, Titans, and Dolphins all looking for head coaches. Miami interviewed former Falcons coach Mike Smith on Monday. They'll talk to Mike Shanahan tomorrow. Actually, that may happen today, though the former coach of the Raiders, Broncos, and Redskins may be a little more interested in the Niners job. The Titans will interview interim coach Mike Mularkey and defensive coordinator Ray Horton for the permanent head coaching job in Tennessee. If Sean Payton leaves New Orleans, the Giants, Eagles, and 49ers are said to be among those interested. The Saints looking for at least a second-round draft pick as compensation. But it looks like the biggest move of the offseason might not be a coach or a player. Maybe an entire team, maybe more than one. The Rams, Chargers, and Raiders all filed paperwork just past midnight Eastern this morning, applying to move their franchises to Los Angeles, which hasn't had a team in 20 years. Now they could have 3. The Chargers and Raiders have been working on a proposal to build a stadium in Carson that they would share, while the Rams have proposed building their own facility in Inglewood. NFL owners expected to review the proposals at their meetings next week in Houston. We shall see. In the NHL, the Senators shaded the Blues 3-2 in overtime. Red Wings blanked the Devils 1-0. Coyotes clipped the Canucks 3-2. Avalanche crushed the Kings 4-1, and the Oilers slipped past the Hurricanes 1-0. That one went to overtime. And baseball, tomorrow, the Hall of Fame voting will be announced. Ken Griffey Jr. expected to be a first ballot inductee. That's Tuesday Sports.
Thank you, Robert. We are coming up on 6 before the hour.
Simply unforgettable cereal.
It's apparently not good enough to just be the breakfast of champions. Now you have to be the breakfast of superheroes. That's ahead on America in the Morning after these messages.
Your locally owned Health Mart pharmacy is committed to helping you and your wallet stay healthy.
As a retired teacher, I look for ways to save money for the things I love, like traveling the world. Medicare plans change each year. Fortunately, my Health Mart pharmacist helped me understand my insurance saving me money on prescriptions. They can help you too.
Start saving for the things you love. Visit healthmart.com to find a locally owned Health Mart pharmacy near you. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Call Quicken Loans now to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Debt is dumb. Dave Ramsey tells you why.
Question comes from Dave in California. He says, is there ever a time when someone might be able to graduate from a cash-only system to the limited use of a credit card? I don't think that would be graduating. I think that would be being put back a grade. I don't know why you would graduate to stupidity. So why is it graduating to have the opportunity to go into debt? Why graduate? Step back. Hi, this is Dave Ramsey. Tune into my show weekdays from noon to 3 here on KMAS.
Is your business targeting the state's largest payroll? Military personnel at JBLM and Naval Base Kitsap surpass all others, and Swarner Communications gives your businesses direct reach into those markets with newspaper advertising, face-to-face events, email blasts, mobile marketing, reputation management, and more, all for one affordable price. Call Swarner Communications today, 253-584-1212.
4 minutes before the hour, hot movies for 2016. That and more in our Hollywood Minute with David Daniel.
Nothing will stand in our way.
The Force Awakens is whipping up interest in the next Star Wars movie, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which takes place just before the original Star Wars film, tops a Fandango.com survey of this year's most anticipated movies. The Pixar sequel, Finding Dory, placed second, followed by the superhero square-off, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
I thought this was over with.
Steve Harvey's post-holiday return to his radio show meant addressing the Miss Universe controversy, Harvey described the confusion backstage after he announced the wrong winner and again denied it was a publicity stunt, noting, "I'm already famous. Do you really think I wanted to be famous like this?"
Jarvis, you there?
Touch yourself.
Who wouldn't want an artificial intelligence like Jarvis in Iron Man? That's just the comparison Mark Zuckerberg made when he set his personal challenge for 2016, building a simple AI to help him around the house. The Facebook founder says he wants to code it himself and promises to share his progress, most likely by posting online, not suddenly soaring over cities. I'm David Daniel.
As you sit there looking at the box of cereal on your kitchen table this morning, consider this. There's more than Snap, Crackle, and Pop coming to America's favorite breakfast food. Paul Harlan digs in.
So what do you think? Do Superman and Batman fuel up every morning with a big heaping bowl of breakfast cereal? We don't know, but their fans are going to be able to do so, and soon. With the big Superman versus Batman film coming, Warner Brothers and General Mills have teamed up to create Superman Caramel Crunch and Batman Chocolate Strawberry breakfast cereals for the superheroes in all of us. Or at least all of us who want some pow and blam along with our morning crunch. I'm Paul Harlan.
Today is Tuesday, January 5th, 2016. On this day in 1914, automaker Henry Ford announced that he was going to pay workers $5 for an 8-hour day as opposed to $2.34 for a 9-hour day. The employee still had to work 6 days a week, though. The 5-day work week did not come about until 1926. Celebrating birthdays today, TV talker Charlie Rose is 74, and Betty Draper on Mad Men, actress January Jones, is 38. And that's it for America in the Morning, produced by Tom DeLack. Associate producer and webmaster is Paul Hill, senior producer Kevin Delaney. I'm Michael Toscano, and this is Westwood One News.
Financial advice you can understand on The Dave Ramsey Show.
My grandmother, God rest her soul, used to give us Series EE savings bonds for our kids. It was for their college. Now you put these away for their college. Every so often she would ask me, how are those bonds doing? And I would tell her the truth. They're doing great. Because I had cashed them in, and now that money was invested in a mutual fund in the kid's name, and they were doing great. Had I left them in those stupid EEs, they wouldn't be doing great. Hi, this is Dave Ramsey. Tune into my show weekdays from noon to 3 here on KMAS.
Tune in all season long to NFL Preview right here on Westwood One. Hi, this is Boomer Esiason. Join me and Scott Graham each week as we preview the entire NFL schedule. We'll break down each matchup and tell you what to watch out for so you can be ready for all the NFL action. If you want the most comprehensive look inside the National Football League, then you need to tune into NFL Preview right here.
7:30 Sunday morning on AM 1030, FM 103.3, KMAS News Radio. Start your mornings live and local with Daybreak on KMAS Shelton. Join Jeff and Dale weekdays from 6 to 9 on AM 1030 or FM 103.3.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. Buying guns online and at gun shows is about to get more complicated. President Obama today signs executive orders requiring buyers at both sites to undergo background checks, saying it won't solve every violent crime but could save lives. ABC Senior Justice Department correspondent Pierre Thomas takes a look at the potential impact.
With the stroke of a pen, the president is potentially greatly expanding the universe of people who should consider themselves as federal gun dealers and as a result require background checks on their gun sales. We're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of people who are now selling firearms at gun shows or online.
They're buckling up for a wild winter weather ride in California. The coast is bracing for a brush with a 700-mile string of El Nino-driven storms. Bill Patzert at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab tells us this season could be historic.
It's amazing how similar things are developing with this El Nino in comparison with 97, 98.
Back then, 2/3 of California counties were declared disaster zones because of extreme weather. It's been a wild time on the run for Texas affluenza teen Ethan Couch. Investigators say he was spotted partying while hiding from the law in Mexico. ABC's Matt Gutman has that story.
Ethan Couch, the so-called affluenza teen, apparently living up to his title in Mexico as a fugitive, apparently going out to strip joints. We're learning that he racked up a huge bill at a strip joint and was seen drinking, even allegedly using drugs.
His mother, Tanya Couch, is due in court in Los Angeles today, where lawyers will try to have her extradited to Texas to face charges of hiding her son. The top diet of 2016, according to U.S. News & World Report, is the DASH diet, heavy on fish, fruits, and veggies. Also getting good grades, the MIND diet, also full of fish, along with brain-healthy blueberries, nuts, and wine. Ellen DeGeneres will be making viewers laugh at least through 2020. She just signed a new contract to continue Ellen, but Meredith Vieira is signing off. This is ABC News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Call Quicken Loans now to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equalizing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Welcome to the 474 at Fridays. Welcome to $4 appetizers, to sharing with the table. Welcome to $7 entrees, to not ordering the usual. Trying something new. Welcome to $4 desserts, to actually having room for dessert. Welcome to lower prices and portions that are just right. Welcome to the 474. Apps and desserts starting at $4, entree starting at $7. The 474, the new menu, only at TGI Fridays. At participating restaurants, prices apply to just right portions only.
The new year is bringing some new TV shows to screens big and small. ABC's Jason Nathanson has a preview.
It has begun. One of the most anticipated new shows is the Shannara Chronicles on MTV, being described as Game of Thrones for millennials. It's based on a wildly popular book series with Jon Favreau as executive producer.
There's young love, there's loss, there's tragedy, there's rising to challenges.
Over on Lifetime, they're debuting the a cappella reality competition show Pitch Slapped and a new season of Dance Moms. On Fox, New Girl is back for season 5, and a new season of Finding Your Roots on PBS explores the ancestry of Modern Family's Ty Burrell and others. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
It's a high-flying message from space to the throne. Tim Peake, the first British astronaut on the International Space Station, tweeted greetings to Queen Elizabeth. In a video, he thanks her for her well wishes to him and says, "Before I sign off, I'm not sure this has ever been said in space before, so I'll be the first. God save the Queen." Karen Chase, ABC.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Marilyn Foster. The Mason County coroner has released the name of a scuba diver who died while diving in the Hood Canal near Hoodspore on Sunday morning. Mason County coroner Wes Stockwell identified the dead scuba diver as Todd Randall McDonald, age 56, from Vancouver, Washington. Stockwell said that a cause of death has not yet been determined and that an autopsy would take place early this week. McDonald was reportedly diving with a group Sunday morning near Hoodspore at a popular dive area called Octopus Hole. Emergency personnel were called when he surfaced while unconscious. The Mason County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation. Joint Base Lewis McChord is expected to cut about 900 civilian jobs over the next few years. The job reductions will mostly be accomplished by not filling openings and by offering incentives for early retirement. The base currently employs more than 16,000 civilian workers. Greta Powell, chief of the base's Resource Management Office, says the senior leaders at the Washington military base have been meeting to discuss how they'll manage the installation with hundreds fewer workers in jobs from retail clerks to daycare providers. The Army, in July, announced it planned to cut 17,000 civilian jobs across the service over the next few years. The Thurston County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing later today at 5:30 p.m. to accept public testimony on amending the interim zoning regulations for state-licensed marijuana producers, processors, and retailers, which are currently set to expire in May. County staff recommended that the county's current interim regulations, as amended, be extended by 6 months so that staff can develop and refine a proposal for permanent marijuana zoning regulations that is consistent with any state laws that may be approved during the legislative session. See more detailed information about the proposal to extend the interim More than 6.5 feet of snow has fallen on Mount Hood this season. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says that's 124% of the normal amount that falls at this time of year and translates into 21.5 inches of water content. Last year, at the same time, the snowfall totals were just 37% of normal. Experts are hoping for even more snowpack that will help sustain the state through the expected 2016 drought season. Longtime Democratic Representative Jim McDermott of Washington State announced yesterday he will not seek re-election for a 15th time when he completes his term at the end of the year. McDermott is the longest-serving member of the state's congressional delegation. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
The Chad Benson Show.
Look, I've said all along, Obamacare is here to stay. You knew I didn't like it because I don't like the government being involved in anything. But I also knew that once it got involved, it was never going away. And this was eventually going to lead to a system that became a single-payer system. We will have a single-payer system in the next decade.
The Chad Benson Show.
Hi, this is Chad Benson. Please check out my show this afternoon from 3 to 6 on KMAS News Radio.
Is your family doing some growing? Whether it's an expansion of your home or the addition of a new family car, Peninsula Credit Union can provide fast, friendly service with terrific rates. We offer personal lines of credit, affordable auto loans, and a variety of home loan options to get you moving. Visit our offices in Shelton, Belfair, Paulsbo, Port Orchard, and Port Townsend, or go online to pcfcu.org. At Peninsula Credit Union, our priority is you.
An epic night in Kansas. Hi, everyone. Dave Packer reporting on sports. College basketball reigned supreme Monday night as the top two teams delivered an instant classic. Hosting number 2 Oklahoma at Allen Fieldhouse, top-ranked Kansas emerged victorious in a triple overtime thriller.
Buddy Hield fires. And Jayhawks win the classic.
Brent Musburger on ESPN with the call as Oklahoma's Buddy Hield missed the 3 as time expired, giving the Jayhawks the 109-106 victory. Hield put up 46 points in the losing effort. If it weren't for the theatrics in Kansas, Bryce Johnson of UNC would have been the story of the night. He dominated in number 6 North Carolina's victory over Florida State, finishing with 39 points and 23 rebounds. Elsewhere in college, Virginia Tech upset number 4 University of Virginia, and Black Monday was bright for Chuck Pagano. The Indianapolis Colts gave the head coach a 4-year contract extension. His reaction?
Absolutely the best day of my life.
Stephen Curry put his fans' concerns to rest, battling injury. Curry put up 30 points in the Warriors' 111-101 victory over the Charlotte Hornets. It was Draymond Green, though, who stole the show. He became the second Warrior ever to post 3 straight triple-doubles. LeBron James and the Cavaliers handled the Toronto Raptors with ease, winning by 22 points. In Philadelphia, the tide may be turning.
He dribbles. He shoots from the top. It's up. It's gone. Ish Smith, top of the key. 2-point field goal.
Tom McGinnis on WPEN with the call as Ish Smith leads the 76ers to their 3rd win in their last 6 games, beating the Timberwolves 109-99. The Sixers still sit in the basement with a record of 4-33. Other scores, Miami beat Indiana in overtime. The Spurs hammer the Bucks. The Kings over the Thunder as Kevin Durant sits. And the Rockets beat the Jazz, the Pistons on top of the Magic. The Celtics win in Brooklyn. And the Grizzlies took care of the Trailblazers. Dave Packer, ABC Sports.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here, KMAS 610 on a Tuesday morning. It's the 5th of January, 2016. Carol and I in studio this morning.
Morning.
Check the weather in just a second. Kind of a quiet night last night as there was no Monday Night Football going on. The Hawks will play in Minnesota this weekend in the first round of the playoffs. They get the Sunday morning draw, and we start our coverage at 8 a.m. Other playoff games this upcoming weekend on Saturday, Kansas City at Houston, then Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. On Sunday, the morning game is the Hawks, like I mentioned, then Green Bay at Washington, and we'll air all the games this weekend. Maria Kostakova scored 17, and Mariah Cooks added 11 and 12 boards as the Cougs earned its 10th win of the season in women's basketball, beating Colorado 74-66 last night. Coach June Doherty also earned her 100th victory in 9 seasons, at Washington State, and became the first Pac-12 coach to collect 100 victories at 2 Pac-12 conference schools. Tomorrow night on KMAS.com, join us for another online videocast of Shelton basketball. North Thurston comes to the Mini-Dome. Our coverage starts right around 7. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll have an NFL Now segment for you from Westwood One, talking about Tom Coughlin and the potential for 3 teams to show up in Los Angeles. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but now we got to check the weather, and here's Carol.
Good morning. Right now it's 36, and rain is forecast today off and on, tapering off this evening, starting about midnight again, and an overnight low of 34. But tomorrow we should wake up to a partly cloudy sky with sunshine, high of 46, and only a 10% chance of rain. The trend should continue throughout the week with sun and clouds, daytime temps of low 40s and nighttime temps of low 30s.
All right. I like that. Something I think could be wrong if we wake up to sunshine.
Well,
It's
yeah,
Daybreak
but
with
you know.
Jeff and Deb on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from the capital of the great state of Washington, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. And again, it's Tuesday here, the 5th of January, 6:13. And a good morning to you, Carol.
Good morning. What a difference a day makes.
Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me?
I know.
So yesterday, that was just yesterday.
Yes.
You called me up early morning. Hello. Can you come get me? Sure, I can come get you.
Actually, it did not quite happen that way.
Well,
but
there was a conversation, and I came and got you, right?
You did.
It's close enough. No, yeah, it was
Jeff's the
amazing
hero.
how clear. There's still a little slush here and there, right? It's not all gone, but
Pretty much all gone from. Right, I mean, I
90% all gone.
Right, but yesterday when I got home, I still had like snow everywhere,
Mhm.
and now it's completely gone. So
Yeah, it was pretty bare on my evening walk last night, and this
Oh.
morning even more bare and wet conditions, and it
Mhm.
wasn't freezing. What did you say the temperature is right now?
about 36.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad at all. And I actually took your inspiration for evening walks. I don't know if I'll get to the nighttime walks, but I did an evening, a late afternoon walk yesterday.
I mean, as long as if there's one in the morning, any time before noon is morning, and any time from noon until midnight is
evening.
Later.
Okay, yeah. So I did a later walk. So you actually did your later walk and your morning walk. So you're right on there.
Working on it.
You're
I
going
think the
through.
dogs are starting to feel it. They did not come off the bed this morning. Come
Well,
on, guys, let's go. We'll go for
I
a walk.
know. It was sort of it's one of the, I mean, it's not that cold, but it's that rainy.
Yeah.
You know, you want to stay snuggled in your bed. I had a hard time getting up this morning too, but
Rainy,
you know, you
interesting
gotta.
that you bring it up. I mean, we were talking about all the rain, but still, listen to this. Washington farmers have lost at least $336 million due to an ongoing drought. And that figure is likely to climb as more information becomes available. The Capitol Press reports that a state report estimated dollar losses for crops such as wheat, apples, blueberries, and raspberries. Losses for such Washington staples as potatoes, milk, and cattle will be tallied later as figures on yields and prices become more available. Now, we're just about out of all drought conditions, I believe, throughout the whole state. But still, they're seeing this from over the summertime, right?
yeah, it's I mean, you think with all this rain, you forget that we even were experiencing the drought, but all the effects of what happened during the drought is now happening now. And so something also interesting, I mean, with our apples, luckily, maybe we don't have that many apples because it's supposed to, our Washington State apple exports are expected to take a hit this year following a recent order calling for the closure of all but one of India's ports to apples. The Yakima Herald Republic reports India has been Washington's third largest apple export market in recent years. And the Northwest Horticultural Council says it's still unclear whether the country's decision in September to cut apple imports from all regions will remain in place. So that's sort of interesting.
Yeah. And a story that you broke yesterday, Carol, longtime Democratic Rep Jim McDermott of the state is retiring. He has announced he won't seek a 15th term. McDermott first elected back in '88 and is the longest serving member of the state's congressional delegation. The 78-year-old is a former Navy psychiatrist known for his liberal views and criticisms of the Iraq War. One of the few physicians in the Congress, actually, McDermott has focused on the implementation of the Affordable Care Act. I believe I need to make sure if I responded to Derek Kilmer's people, but he wants to and is likely to call in on Thursday.
Oh, great. Yeah, we want to start getting all the local politicians that affect our area, the whole South Sound area. If they want to get involved, we want to hear from them. Now, here's an interesting story. One of the largest school districts in Washington State is outfitting its school buses with GPS tracking devices. King TV reported the Kent School District received a $50,000 grant from a Seattle-based company, Zonar, to install the devices on its entire fleet.
Okay.
And this installation is because of kindergarten was mistakenly dropped off at the wrong bus and was missing for a few hours. And are we getting so dependent on technology that we just can't do our jobs, that have to have everybody accounted for all the time using computers?
Well, yesterday, constantly, people are afraid to use their gut instincts. They're afraid to just step out and go out on a limb because the backlash that you hear, especially now that I'm thinking about this through social media and everything like that. Oh my gosh, you tie your shoes the wrong way and somebody's tweeting about what an idiot you are.
Right. And
so, and I have done this, looked up.
Tweeted people that are idiots?
No, I don't tweet people that are idiots. I don't know how to tweet. I'm the idiot. I have looked up best practices on how to tie shoes.
No.
Of course I have. Why haven't I?
I don't know, because you learned when you were a child and you just tie your shoes
the same way every time. But what if though
was a better way to tie your shoes?
There was a better way to tie your
more
shoes.
More efficient and effective.
And I'm just wondering again. So I'll spend way more time than it necessitates.
Well, was there a better way to tie your shoes?
And they're all about the same. But you don't know until you try. And so that's kind of the thing.
Well,
I think people they're so nervous to try things on their own.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem there are
getting on them so much.
It does seem like there is some type of stuff like that. But I have to say, though, that there's nothing wrong with expanding your horizons and seeing how other people do things. Being open to new ways of doing things is not wrong at all.
Right.
It just shouldn't paralyze you or make you feel like perhaps the way you're doing it is wrong. I mean, that whole that whole thought process is not how we should be looking at it. That it's one person is right and the other person's wrong.
Sure.
It'd be like, oh, this is a new way of doing it. Maybe it's better, maybe not. I don't know. That's our philosophy of the day, I guess.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about this tomorrow. I mean, it's basically a lock. Griffey's in the Hall of Fame. We'll talk about it after this. And the Hawks are in the playoffs. There's a legislative send-off happening in an hour and 10 minutes at the Colonial House. We'll get you that information as well.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Wolf with NFL Network now on the Westwood One Radio Network. After 12 seasons and 2 Super Bowl titles, Tom Coughlin's time in New York has come to an end. On Monday, Coughlin resigned as head coach. In part, Coughlin said, I met with John Mara and Steve Tisch, and I informed them that it is in the best interest of the organization that I step down as head coach. I strongly believe the time is right for me and my family. And as I said, the Giants organization. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as head coach of the New York Football Giants. Head coach Chuck Pagano is staying in Indianapolis. The Colts and Pagano agreed to a 4-year extension on Monday night. The team will also retain general manager Ryan Grigson. The Chargers are keeping their head coach Mike McCoy, but the Chargers did release offense coordinator Frank Reich and 5 other assistants with the most complete coverage possible, Hall of Fame analysis, and exclusive access 24/7. Nobody does the playoffs like NFL Network. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Call Quicken Loans now to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
And now, a touching moment. Well, staying in touch with Geico.
It was a warm summer day. I was just sitting on a porch watching a babbling brook roll by. Then, out of the blue, I got an update from my Geico app saying my claim had been processed. I felt so connected to nature, to Geico. I stayed there the whole afternoon until that guy told me to stop trespassing on his porch. Sheesh, what was his problem?
Claim status updates just a few taps away on the Geico app.
A special health condition can make life challenging, and finding others who understand makes a world of difference. Mason General Hospital brings together people who want to help each other with community support groups that meet regularly in our area. If you're dealing with cancer, addiction, or a chronic health condition, a support group can give you the tools to manage your condition, cope better, or help you on the road to recovery. Visit masongeneral.com for a complete list of local area support groups available.
Mason General Hospital and family of clinics. Equal opportunity provider. Translation services provided.
Mason General and family of clinics.
Take KMAS wherever you go with our new free KMAS mobile app. It's a free download from either your Apple or Android device. Check out the latest news and even listen wherever you have a signal. Search KMAS in your app store and download our free KMAS app today. For local news 24/7, log on to KMAS.com.
Hi, this is Clayton David from Hood Canal Salmon Enhancement Group, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS Newsradio.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak at KMAS 623. And coming up in the news, we'll hear from Marilyn Foster. Also, we'll check the weather with Carol, and then I'll talk about some sports things that are going on. One of the quick things that's coming up tomorrow are the Hall of Fame inductions for baseball and the Baseball Hall of Fame. And pretty much a shoe-in is the old Griff, the old kid, Junior, if you will. You remember that time when Griffey, I don't remember who hit it first, but Senior was up to bat, or Junior, whatever. Home run. Then the next Griffey comes up to bat, home run. What a magical back-to-back home run. I mean, what are the odds? Father, son, same team, back-to-back home runs.
It's a great thing. That's why he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
You know he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. We'll talk about some of the other folks who may join him as well. If you like beer, if you like football, do you like both those things?
I do like both those things.
Well, you are going to like this wild card scramble coming up this weekend from 12:30 to 7:30. And it's happening in regards to the Lacey South Sound Chamber. The wild card scramble for the wild card playoff games. Going to tour Lacey and get a taste of what local restaurants have to offer while watching the NFL wild card games. And lots of good company, good food, lots of prizes. Big thanks to all their sponsors. You can get information, and they meet at the River's Edge. There is an admission fee for this big tour that they're going to be doing. But again, the wild card scramble, 12:30. Find more information at the Lacey Chamber of Commerce.
That does sound like fun.
Doesn't it sound like fun? And you just kind of travel around, get off the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah! Team. Give me some hot wings.
Seahawks. Well, actually, they're not playing on Saturday.
Yeah, you have to wait till Sunday morning.
Yeah.
But you can still be that.
You could be wearing the
Seahawks honk.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, that's tomorrow. So what? Give me some wings.
Give me some wing. Yeah, I mean, prizes. Somebody's driving for you. You don't have to worry about driving.
And if River's Edge is just one of the spots, I mean, River's Edge has got good food.
There you go.
Next to the golf course.
Free hors d'oeuvres, right? I think
That's what somebody had mentioned. Free hors d'oeuvres. You have to pay for your drinks, but free hors d'oeuvres. But
interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
So that's the Lacey South Sound Chamber of Commerce.
That is. Of Commerce. How come I can't say that word now?
That's early.
And Shelton Mason Chamber of Commerce, along with the EDC, the City of Shelton, Mason County government, they are holding a legislative send-off this morning. It's going to be at 7:30 at the Colonial House. So we're going to have our Senator Sheldon, our Representatives McEwen and Griffey there. They're going to listen to the audience, hopefully, and these government entities are going to tell our representatives what we need done, what are priorities. Hopefully they're going to listen to that, and they'll take that back to the legislative session, which starts next week, and try to incorporate it into what's happening in Olympia. And then hopefully we'll hear back at the end of the session if, some of those things got done. And that's tomorrow. That's this morning, 7:30. They wanted you to RSVP because, it's limited space. But if you show up without one, they're not going to turn you away because it's important information for everybody.
Sure. You may just not get a breakfast or some sort of food.
Yeah, or you might not be able to sit down if it's limited
exactly.
seating.
But again, important to get involved in the process. Representative McEwen will be on Daybreak this Friday.
Yes.
We start the session on Monday. And then we'll continue in then with our regular scheduled guests to talk about their different chambers, their different committees, and things like that. Pretty exciting.
Right. And we have a political page on our website. You can find it under the news tab. And I will be updating that this week. And so when we have our reps come on, they'll have an interview and we'll have links to those so you can listen to it.
Only federally licensed gun dealers must conduct background checks on buyers under the current law, but the Obama administration will now expand who is considered a gun dealer and must require background checks on gun sales. How do Americans feel about this? Well, ABC's Karen Travers has a report now from the White House.
Americans overwhelmingly support expanding background checks. In fact, they support going even further than what President Obama is proposing. Polling shows that around 85% of Americans say they're in favor of background checks on all private gun sales, gun show sales, or online sales. But when it comes to broader gun control, public opinion has shifted away from new laws. Americans are now divided almost evenly between placing a higher priority on protecting gun ownership rights or enacting new regulations. Karen Travers, ABC News at the White House.
Thanks, Karen, for that report. And these executive actions coming down the pike today, Carol, is that what you're reading?
No, I don't think the executive actions are coming down today. I think they are starting talks about it. And they're going to put something together. I mean, I haven't heard anything about there's going to be something immediately
that starts today
happening.
Well, let's see here.
Today. And it is interesting.
Karen Travers has another report on this right here.
These executive actions will narrow what's called the gun show loophole, requiring more people to register as licensed gun dealers, which will then require background checks on their buyers. But the administration was not able to say how many sellers will be impacted going forward and how many additional background checks will now be conducted. To prepare for the expected increase, the FBI will hire more than 200 additional examiners. Karen Travers, ABC News at the White House.
Who says the government doesn't create more jobs?
Hey, there's 200 more right there. All right, we have got a break. Mary Lynn Foster now. We'll check sports weather. Talk a little bit about the Hawks coming up this Sunday and the rest of the wild card playoff picture right here on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com 427-4489.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The Mason County coroner has released the name of a scuba diver who died while diving in the Hood Canal near Hoodsport on Sunday morning. Mason County coroner Wes Stockwell identified the dead scuba diver as Todd Randall McDonald, age 56, from Vancouver, Washington. Stockwell said that a cause of death has not yet been determined and that an autopsy would take place early this week. McDonald was reportedly diving with a group Sunday morning near Hoodsport at a popular dive area called Octopus Hole. Emergency personnel were called when he surfaced while unconscious. The Mason County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation. Joint Base Lewis McChord is expected to cut about 900 civilian jobs over the next few years. The job reductions will mostly be accomplished by not filling openings and by offering incentives for early retirement. The base currently employs more than 16,000 civilian workers. Greta Powell, chief of the base's Resource Management Office, says the senior leaders at the Washington military base have been meeting to discuss how they'll manage the installation with hundreds fewer workers in jobs from retail clerks to daycare providers. The Army, in July, announced it planned to cut 17,000 civilian jobs across the service over the next few years. The Thurston County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing later today at 5:30 p.m. to accept public testimony on amending the interim zoning regulations for state licensed marijuana producers, processors, and retailers, which are currently set to expire in May. County staff recommended that the county's current interim regulations, as amended, be extended by 6 months so that staff can develop and refine a proposal for permanent marijuana zoning regulations that is consistent with any state laws that may be approved during the legislative session. See more detailed information about the proposal to extend the interim regulations. Go to thurstonplanning.org and click on the link for the January 5th Board of County Commissioners hearing. More than 6.5 feet of snow has fallen on Mount Hood this season. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says that's 124% of the normal amount that falls at this time of year and translates into 21.5 inches of water content. Last year, at the same time, the snowfall totals were just 37% of normal. Experts are hoping for even more snowpack that will help sustain the state through the expected 2016 drought season. Longtime Democratic Representative Jim McDermott of Washington State announced yesterday he will not seek re-election for a 15th time when he completes his term at the end of the year. McDermott is the longest-serving member of the state's congressional delegation. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Stop by Mason PUD 3's Shelton or Belfair offices this month and pick up your free 2016 PUD calendar. The calendar has important tips for energy efficiency, storm preparation, and contact information, so it's always close at hand. The calendar also has beautiful photos of Mason County scenery. Supplies are limited, so get your calendar before they're all gone. Mason PUD number 3, providing clean, renewable, and reliable energy every day.
Hi, Tom Hartman here. Join me 9 to noon on Newsradio 1030 KMAS. If you're afraid of school shootings, fine. Put him near the outer perimeter of the school. Put him in front of the school. Build a little guardhouse or something. Stick him in it. But a cop to deal with discipline problems? It's turning a school into a prison. It's teaching kids how to be afraid of authority figures. It's teaching them, oh, yes, officer, no, officer. Oh, please don't beat the crap out of her. Oh, wow, look at him beat the crap out of her. This is so wrong.
For News Radio 1030 KMAS FM 103.3 and KMAS.com. A good morning to you. It's Daybreak here on KMAS. I'm Jeff Slakey looking at sports, and we'll check the weather here shortly on a much different day than yesterday. For sure. Hawks have made it once again into the playoffs. They're in the wild card round this weekend, and they play Minnesota Sunday morning at 10. We've got our coverage starting at 8. The other playoff games this weekend: Saturday, Kansas City at Houston, then Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Sunday, after the morning game, like I mentioned, the Hawks, it will be Green Bay at Washington. KMAS will air all the games this weekend. And if you're looking for something fun to do, try out the Wild Card Scramble in association with the Lacey South Sound Chamber of Commerce. Other sporting news for you: Maria Kostakova scored 17, and Mariah Cooks added 11 and 12 boards as the Cougs earned its 10th win of the season, Carol. The Cougs.
Mm-hmm. I know. Woohoo!
Bleed crimson and gold over here. No, crimson and gray, I suppose.
Yes.
Colorado 74-66 last night. Good on them. Tomorrow night on KMAS.com, join us for another online video cast of Shelton basketball. North Thurston comes to the Mini Dome, and our coverage starts around 7 with Sean Wells. Other notes from NFLville: Tom Coughlin has resigned after 12 seasons and 2 Super Bowl victories as the head coach for the Giants. He's 69 now and was 110-93 with 3 division titles and 2 Super Bowl victories, as I mentioned. Mike McCoy will return as head coach of the Chargers. But will the Chargers return to San Diego? Well, 3 teams, Carol, the Raiders of Oakland, the Rams of St. Louis, and the Chargers of San Diego, each submitted applications to the NFL offices yesterday to relocate their franchises to Los Angeles, beginning with the 2016 season.
Wow.
Each team submitted the appropriate documentation in support of its application as required by all the policies and procedures, whatever. The applications will be reviewed this week by league staff, and some committees will meet in New York on Wednesday and Thursday. They'll check out the LA opportunities, the stadium opportunities, finance committees, and things like that. The relocation of a franchise requires the affirmative vote of 3/4 of the NFL clubs. That's 24 of the 32.
Okay, what are the 3 teams again?
The Raiders.
The Raiders.
The Rams.
The Rams.
And the Chargers.
So the Raiders would just be moving.
They'd all be moving from Oakland to LA.
Yeah, Oakland
moving
to
from
LA.
San Diego to LA, and moving from St. Louis to LA.
So
what happens to all those other people, those fan bases you have?
Yeah, that's what I do ask. I know.
That's what they get. You know what they get? They should have bought better. They should have bought more tickets.
No.
They should have gone to the games.
The team should have been better.
The team, but maybe in LA.
So
things are so much rosier.
If we just add another team
Hollywood.
to California, then we'll have like 3, 4.
You could have a whole division down there.
Yeah, just the California division.
Well, I thought, and I talked to Dale about this last week or so, I thought it'd be really cool if through some sort of thoughtful thinking within the NFL that you put the Seahawks, the Raiders, if the Rams move, the Rams, the Chargers, and the 49ers, all, and I guess Arizona, why not? 6, all in the same division, the conference, NFC West, right? And every game would be super, like, fantastical. These guys are so, I mean, it's all West Coast swing.
Well, it seems like if it says West in the NFC West title, it should be West Coast teams, but it doesn't quite work out that way.
It takes 75% of the vote to be elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and Ken Griffey Jr., I'm going to say 98%. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's a lock for sure. Tomorrow afternoon, the results for the Baseball Writers Association of America vote for the 2016 Baseball Hall of Fame class, and it's unlikely that the 2016 class of inductees will be as big as last year's. We saw 4 folks go into Cooperstown. But there are 32 folks on the ballot. It takes 75% of the vote, as I mentioned. And then let's start talking about some of these folks. Now, there's Troy Gloss. We've heard of him. Mike Hampton, we've heard of him. And these guys are all kind of maybe not. The big guy, Nomar Garciaparra, he's eligible now. Mark McGuire, he's not going to get in. Sammy Sosa's still on the list. He's not going to get in. People don't want him.
How many people get in?
I think it just kind of depends. Every year, well, last year was a big deal. There was 4. And you just kind of vote. And if everybody gets above 75%, I believe that's what you need. The crime dog, Fred McGriff, this is his 3rd year on the ballot. He has yet to make it in. Gary Sheffield's still on there. These are all names that I remember from when Jeff Kent, when I used to collect baseball cards. So great. The big one, Roger Clemens still hanging in there. Barry Bonds still in there. Edgar Martinez.
So it's like these people, they just like are there and there and there. It's like, I would be sort of a letdown to be on it year after year and never get voted in. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, and you don't, and you kind of just hover. And then after so often you're off the ballots. Edgar Martinez should get in there, but he most likely won't. But we'll see for sure. Ken Griffey Jr., that's exciting. And Mike Piazza should get in. Griffey should get in. Those are maybe only 2. We'll find out tomorrow. So that's sports, Carol. What's up with the weather?
Well, Jeff, right now it's about 35, and there is some light rain. There is rain forecast today on and off, and tapering off some this evening, starting again about midnight. There's going to be an overnight low of 34. And tomorrow, we should wake up to starry skies and partly clouds, but it will break away to just sunshine with some clouds, high of 46 and only about a 10% chance of rain. And this should continue throughout the week with sun and clouds, daytime temps, low 40s, nighttime temps, 30s.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line by email or Facebook. Now from the shores of Hood Canal, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. Daybreak here, KMAS 642. We'll live the country life in just a few moments. Ole Town Artesians back in action on Saturday night against Bellingham United. Going to be a great game at the Pavilion. Ole Town, monikered after the Artesians. It's the water, the brewery. You know, it's so successful, that brewery. It was in so many movies in the 70s. Blues Brothers comes to mind first off. Drinking all the Ole beer when they're in that rawhide bar doing those songs. That's a great scene. But you've got some news on the brewery.
I do. According to King 5, after sitting abandoned and quiet for 12 years, the Olympia Brewery could soon come back to life. So the Tumwater Development Company purchased a 30-acre property for $4 million. And the design team leader, Ron Thomas, said potential projects include a hotel, convention space, and a pub or restaurant. He said existing warehouse space could be rented out by the end of the year, but he would like to see the old bottling plant turned into a restaurant. He said there's tons of opportunities, but he said they have to really study the feasibility of preserving and renovating the existing structures, which date back to the 1930s. So he said, how much do they have to be improved from an earthquake standpoint?
I never really thought about that.
And from an energy standpoint. He said if it doesn't make financial sense, they'll probably be demolished, but he said that it will be hard for some people to hear. I mean, it would not look the same.
Oh, my gosh, no, it wouldn't.
But he said they're going to do a feasibility study, and they should have about 6 months with results in about 6 months.
You remember the gift shop area?
Yeah.
So you're driving on Capitol, and it's the bridge that spans the brewery property. If you look directly to your right now, they're blacked out windows, but that's used to be where the gift shop used to be. And great views. That would be great views of everything. And I can imagine putting in, I wonder what equipment is still in there. Probably big bubblers and boilers. I don't know what Miller
Those
took
big
out.
copper things, I'm sure. Are still
unless
in there.
somebody came in and ripped them out. But there was another story, and maybe you can find it later in the morning, about the location of the brewery, the sign that used to be on the side.
Oh, yeah.
It was found in a barn in Tumwater. It's a secret where it is.
Seriously.
I've got another secret barn story in Tumwater to tell you in a second. But let me just say.
Too much information.
There, somewhere in a barn in Tumwater, is the old logo that was on the side of the building that Miller took down. And I think they had talked about putting it back up because it's just sitting there rusting.
To put old things like that into something new is always great. And then you have the history there. I mean, those buildings are old.
And they're not
dated.
They're not pretty.
They're not pretty at all. I mean, it's just a landmark. I personally would not care if they were gone. It would be weird to see it completely different. But then when it's completely different, you're like, oh, this is sort of how it should look if it's done correctly.
Do you think they should do any kind of back to nature?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to obviously work with the environment because they're right there at the river.
That was the big thing about the water, bottling the water.
Yeah, I think that'll play a big part in it. I mean, I would imagine they would use that to their advantage.
It's a perfect location to bring goods in and out. I mean, it's right on the rail line, and trains still go on those tracks.
Right.
because we were walking on those tracks not too long ago and there was a train.
Walking on the tracks?
We were walking on,
With
what else were we
Little
doing?
Kaiser?
Kaiser and I were on the tracks.
No, you take risks, Jeffrey.
Hear the train coming.
That's what they all say.
I got Papo behind us. He's watching, making sure things are right. After this, I got to tell you about this other secret thing in Tumwater that
Can't wait.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
It takes almost a year before a pregnant mare has her baby. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. For much of that time, you can still ride her because exercise is important for the horse. But take it easy as you're living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
The 2016 Commodity Classic in New Orleans promises to be the jazziest ever. More education, the biggest trade show yet, and plenty of new ideas, innovation, and technology. Commodity Classic is a great place to recharge your batteries, get energized and inspired. A great place to get jazzed about your farm and your future. And this year, the Association of Equipment Manufacturers joins the nation's corn, soybean, wheat, and sorghum industries at Commodity Classic. Get jazzed in New Orleans at Commodity Classic, March 3rd through 5th. Discover more at commodityclassic.com.
Need new ideas for what to do around your place? Register for a free Living the Country Life newsletter. Once a week, you'll receive helpful tips on key topics such as landscaping, animals and poultry, outdoor improvement projects, recreational activities, and much more. The newsletter delivers the latest trends, alerts you to informational courses, shares what other people are doing on their properties, and provides details about exciting sweepstakes and other contests. Sign up for your free newsletter today by visiting livingthecountrylife.com.
Many people think they will hurt their pregnant mare if they ride her. There are some precautions to take, but a strong, physically fit mare will give birth to a healthy baby. Amy Johnson is an associate professor of theriogenology at Auburn University College of Veterinary Medicine. She says within the first 60 days of pregnancy, there is the risk of early embryonic death, so the mare should not be doing any high-level exercise. After that time has passed, you can ride her if she's used to it, but be gentle.
We recommend light riding early on, especially while they're in that critical early window. And then we recommend the light riding throughout pregnancy if that's what the mare's used to. Sometime probably around month 10, we do recommend just kind of staying off of them and letting them kind of be a pregnant mare. At that point, they're pretty uncomfortable.
The foal goes through major growth in the last 3 months, and the mare is really feeling the toll on her body. Her diaphragm is displaced, so she might have trouble getting enough air. Her belly and legs start swelling from fluid buildup, especially if she's just standing around in a stall. Johnson says while you can't ride the mare at this point, do walk her around because exercise is still important for her well-being, and it will lift her spirits.
It really helps. You can take your horse on a walk a couple times a day. When they're here in the hospital, we'll actually hand walk them 2 to 3 times a day for about 15 minutes. And that really helps get everything moving, helps decrease some of that fluid.
Self-exercise by being turned out in a paddock or pasture gives the mare a chance to move around when she needs it. However, it should be a location that she's already used to, and she should be isolated or have sufficient space to separate herself from other horses. Learn more about caring for pregnant mares at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online.
Mason County Garbage and Recycling on Johns Prairie here in Shelton is pleased to offer safe and efficient removal services. Mason County Garbage and Recycling is always mindful of environmental standards and is continuously striving for the highest excellence. Mason County Garbage and Recycling, upholding your trust within the community. Questions? Call 426-8729. In Belfair, 275-4590.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
Hi, this is Mike Michael, city engineer for the city of Shelton, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
All right, good morning to you. Daybreak here, about 10 to the top. We'll check CNBC Business Radio reports. And yesterday, Carol, we had a big slide in the market. It started in Japan or something, the Nikkei index over there, 7% or something like that. They stopped it, trickled around to us. It was another down day, but one stock segment is up this morning.
Oh, what's that, Jeff?
That's the gun industry, especially on the heels of this morning's and last night's leaked information. We didn't know for sure what he was going to say, the president I'm speaking of here, but this morning he has some new executive orders out, and that is causing a boost in gun stocks today. People are concerned. You have some of the things that could potentially happen because of these executive actions? Executive orders, whatever they're
some information that we got from King 5.
Okay.
The White House rolled out a batch of narrowly tailored administrative actions. And basically it has more to do with lawyers than guns itself. So that's what people hear, you know. But a couple of things, a package, according to the White House fact sheet. They're going to be hiring more people to run the FBI background check system, so the government can be processing background checks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay.
There's going to be Congress is requesting an additional $500 million to increase access to mental health care.
They're requesting Congress to do that.
Yeah,
because he can't do that.
No, he can't do that. He has to ask Congress to do that. They're going to clarify that people selling guns over the internet can still be required to conduct background checks on buyers if they are engaged in the business of selling guns, not just a hobbyist.
So that's probably the biggest change.
Yeah, well, that sort of is there, but they're going to make it more like this is the rule and you have to abide by it.
Isn't that similar to the law here, the 524, 529, whichever one passed here in the state, where even if you're transferring it from family member to family member, you kind of got to do these checks. Is that what was going on there?
Well, that's what people said was happening, but that's not really, there's still no rule. There's no law that says that, basically. There's a requirement. Stuff that was discussed that is not in the package is that a requirement that every gun sale in the country is preceded by a criminal background check. And that's sort of what you were just talking about. That's not in there at all.
Okay.
There's no ban on gun sales, and there's no ban on large capacity magazines that hold a lot of bullets. There isn't that right now. The people go into a frenzy and they freak out when they hear this, but they don't get the facts. Sure. And so all this media plays it up. But basically he's just, I think what he's doing is hiring more people to enforce the rules that are already there is what's happening.
Not in there is a ban on gun sales to people on a terrorist no-fly list.
Right.
Now he can't do that, or in his limited scope.
Doesn't have the authority to under
existing laws. He was banging on that pretty hard the other day.
Yeah, but that's
speech to the nation.
Nope. He wants Congress to step up and do something. And they
either way, there's something needs to be done, right? Can we just hold some votes? And then we know where people stand, and then we can move forward from there. If you just go, well, we need common sense gun reform. Okay, great.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
This is the president's idea of some common sense gun reform. Okay, great. Now here's a stepping off point. If people would work with him, then maybe we can get somewhere.
Right.
Interesting.
Yep, that is interesting.
6:55 at KMAS. We'll see what's going on with the Business Radio report here shortly. An executive order, also known as a proclamation, is a directive handed down directly from a president or governor, the executive branch of the government, without input from the legislative or judicial branches. Executive orders can only be given to federal or state agencies, not to citizens, although citizens are indirectly affected by them. Every president has used these, leading the nation through tough times of war, natural disasters, economic crises, encourage or discourage regulations by federal agencies, civil rights, or promoting civil rights, and in certain cases, revoking civil rights. And I bring up executive order from the President Franklin Roosevelt, 9066. This is the one excluding the Japanese American citizens and the internment of all that kind of stuff that was going on. So people have been using these executive orders all throughout the times, and we can go through some of the more colorful ones over the rest of the day or the rest of the week if you wish. But that's kind of where we're at here. I was having a hard time understanding how these start. Once he writes them and signs his name, is it active? Things like that. But we'll move forward from here, I suppose.
We'll just move forward and see what happens.
I mean, there's not a lot that we can do personally. 6:57 at KMAS.
We can state facts instead of not facts.
Sure, that works, I suppose.
We are the media.
The lamestream media.
Oh,
at least
come
on your side of the desk.
Okay, so how about something new and different?
Please.
Ford partners with Amazon to connect cars with homes.
Wow.
So the future is happening sooner than later.
Yeah, the Consumer Electronics Show is going on this week.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go do that, and I just haven't quite got there.
You live down there, too. You still didn't go.
Yeah, but I don't think it was there when I was there. I don't think it was quite there. But we can talk about that.
Yeah, the Internet of Things.
Yeah.
2016 will be the Internet of Things. That means everything will be connected to the Internet.
Yep.
We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
I'm Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio. The markets began the day higher today, attempting to bounce back from a sharply lower start to the year. During last session, stocks plunged after China's main market tumbled 7%. The Dow had its worst first trading day of the year since 2008. The Dow's up 28 points, the Nasdaq higher by 13. Automakers are reporting their December sales results all throughout the day. Fiat Chrysler already turning in some strong numbers, reporting its best sales in 90 years. Meantime, Ford says its December sales rose nearly 6%, and Ford's were up almost 8.5%. Nike is reportedly taking Skechers to court, claiming it has infringed on 8 of its patents. The Portland Business Journal says Nike filed a lawsuit on Monday. This comes just 4 months after Adidas sued Skechers for trademark infringement. Chris Maurer, CNBC.
Did you know 1 in 50 people has a brain aneurysm? Every 18 minutes, a brain aneurysm erupts. Half of brain aneurysms result in death. Will it strike you or someone you love? The Brain Aneurysm Foundation is the globally recognized leader in brain aneurysm education, awareness, advocacy, support, and research funding. The Brain Aneurysm Foundation, raising awareness, ending fear. To learn the facts at bafound.org. That's bafound.org.
Sometimes being a genius would really come in handy. Karen, final question. You'll either walk out of here with $1 million or nothing. In what year did the Hicksonian astrophysical capital city 4th president invented? You have 5 seconds. But thankfully, you don't need to be a genius to do your own taxes, because TurboTax helps turn complicated questions into simple ones that you can answer. Intuit TurboTax. Taxes done smarter.
Dave Ramsey helps you handle your money on KMAS Shelton, weekdays from noon to 3, AM 1030, FM 103.3, and online at KMAS.com.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase.
Survivors of the Columbine and Virginia Tech shootings will be among the guests when President Obama announces new executive orders he's signing to tighten gun control. They'll expand background check requirements to include gun shows and online sales. But ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas tells us critics are warning they'll backfire.
There's some question as to whether there are enough federal agents to enforce these new guidelines. Proponents will say this could mean many more background checks on gun purchases, catching people who fell through the cracks. And opponents will say this just puts more burden on gun lovers who like to sell weapons.
The Texas teen who evaded jail time after a deadly drunk driving crash by pleading affluenza went out partying while evading capture in Mexico. ABC's Matt Gutman has the details.
He was not keeping a low profile in Mexico as a fugitive. We've learned that he went to a strip club called Harem, which is a favorite, allegedly, of El Chapo Guzman. He was seen there at the VIP room, drinking heavily, allegedly using drugs, and going for lap dance after lap dance, racking up a $1,000 bill, which he couldn't pay. Bouncers had to take him back to his resort where his mother paid for the tab.
Hillary Clinton says her New Year's resolution is to not respond to Donald Trump and let him live in his alternate reality. Trump is calling her move to include her husband, Bill, in her campaign a mistake. A Starbucks barista got busted in a very public way. After stealing a customer's credit card and going on a spending spree, the customer tracked her down, armed with a cell phone camera, and confronted her, demanding a drive-through apology.
You know what you did, right? I'm sorry that I took money from you and your kids.
The barista got fired not long after the video went viral. Starbucks also apologized to the customer. Nobody got a kiss for a change on The Bachelor, but there was no shortage of drama on the season premiere. One woman showed up wearing a unicorn mask, another rolled up on a hoverboard. This is ABC News.
What would an extra $250 a month mean to you? For some, it's a little financial breathing room. For others, it's a car payment, a home repair, or help with college tuition. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I've got some great news if you're looking to save money on your mortgage. All it takes is a simple phone call to Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. Folks who refinance with HARP can save an average of $250 a month. That's $3,000 a year. Our home loan experts fully understand the HARP guidelines, and they'll walk you through our streamlined process. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
The Buffalo Bills got a gift from a Pittsburgh area restaurant for helping their team make the playoffs. ABC's Scott Goldberg explains.
When the Buffalo Bills beat the New York Jets, this was the reaction in Pittsburgh.
Let's go Buffalo.
They're really our friends now.
That locked up a playoff spot for the Steelers, so Pittsburgh restaurant chain Primanti Brothers decided to say thanks by sending a shipment of their almost famous sandwiches to the Bills. Salami, turkey, roast beef, topped with coleslaw and French fries.
We're not expecting anything in return. It's, again, a complete thank you gesture, but, you know, I'll take some wings. Sure.
We can imagine the Bills, who didn't make the playoffs, responding with a gesture of their own. Scott Goldberg, ABC News.
Adding new meaning to the phrase dead drunk, a Russian man was drinking at a party when he passed out. Friends called the EMTs, and they declared him dead and brought him to the morgue. That's where he woke up. He alerted authorities, who let him out and went back to the party, where the host fainted when she saw him. Then they switched it to a rebirthday party. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Marilyn Foster. The Mason County coroner has released the name of a scuba diver who died while diving in the Hood Canal near Hoodsport on Sunday morning. Mason County coroner Wes Stockwell identified the dead scuba diver as Todd Randall McDonald, age 56, from Vancouver, Washington. Stockwell said that a cause of death has not yet been determined and that an autopsy would take place early this week. McDonald was reportedly diving with a group Sunday morning near Hoodsport at a popular dive area called Octopus Hole. Emergency personnel were called when he surfaced while unconscious. The Mason County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation. Joint Base Lewis-McChord is expected to cut about 900 civilian jobs over the next few years. The job reductions will mostly be accomplished by not filling openings and by offering incentives for early retirement. The base currently employs more than 16,000 civilian workers. Greta Powell, chief of the base's Resource Management Office, says the senior leaders at the Washington military base have been meeting to discuss how they'll manage the installation with hundreds fewer workers in jobs from retail clerks to daycare providers. The Army, in July, announced it planned to cut 17,000 civilian jobs across the service over the next few years. The Thurston County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing later today at 5:30 p.m. to accept public testimony on amending the interim zoning regulations for state licensed marijuana producers, processors, and retailers, which are currently set to expire in May. County staff recommended that the county's current interim regulations, as amended, be extended by 6 months so that staff can develop and refine a proposal for permanent marijuana zoning regulations that is consistent with any state laws that may be approved during the legislative session. See more detailed information about the proposal to extend the interim regulations. Go to thurstonplanning.org and click on the link for the January 5th Board of County Commissioners hearing. More than 6.5 feet of snow has fallen on Mount Hood this season. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says that's 124% of the normal amount that falls at this time of year and translates into 21.5 inches of water content. Last year, at the same time, the snowfall totals were just 37% of normal. Experts are hoping for even more snowpack that will help sustain the state through the expected 2016 drought season. Longtime Democratic Representative Jim McDermott of Washington State announced yesterday he will not seek re-election for a 15th time when he completes his term at the end of the year. McDermott is the longest-serving member of the state's congressional delegation. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Has this ever happened to you? Your significant other says, we've got to redo the kitchen, and you break out into a cold sweat?
Well, don't worry. It's a common condition, something we call needless remodeling anxiety, and we've got the cure. Heck, we are the cure. Hi, I'm Tom Kreitler.
And I'm Leslie Segretti. Whether you do it yourself or direct it yourself, we can help you keep your project on track and on budget.
So join us this weekend for the Money Pit Home Improvement Radio Show.
Saturdays at 10, Sundays at 7 on KMAS News Radio.
Hi, I'm Ken Slater, the Roof Doctor. If you're like me, your family's important, so make sure that they're well taken care of. One of the best ways to do that is to provide a safe and warm home to live in. For over 50 years, the Roof Doctor has been helping families stay safe and warm by building roofs that last for generations. Our teams have some of the most experienced roofers in the area, and we only use the highest quality materials to keep your family safe, warm, and dry. That's the Roof Doctor. Give us a call.
An epic night in Kansas. Hi, everyone. Dave Packer reporting on sports. College basketball reigned supreme Monday night as the top two teams delivered an instant classic. Hosting number 2 Oklahoma at Allen Fieldhouse, top-ranked Kansas emerged victorious in a triple overtime thriller.
Buddy Hield fires. And Jayhawks win the classic.
Brent Musburger on ESPN with the call as Oklahoma's Buddy Hield missed the 3 as time expired, giving the Jayhawks the 109-106 victory. Hield put up 46 points in the losing effort. If it weren't for the theatrics in Kansas, Bryce Johnson of UNC would have been the story of the night. He dominated in number 6 North Carolina's victory over Florida State, finishing with 39 points and 23 rebounds. Elsewhere in college, Virginia Tech upset number 4 University of Virginia, and Black Monday was bright for Chuck Pagano. The Indianapolis Colts gave the head coach a 4-year contract extension. His reaction?
Absolutely the best day of my life.
Stephen Curry put his fans' concerns to rest, battling injury. Curry put up 30 points in the Warriors' 111-101 victory over the Charlotte Hornets. It was Draymond Green, though, who stole the show. He became the second Warrior ever to post 3 straight triple-doubles. LeBron James and the Cavaliers handled the Toronto Raptors with ease, winning by 22 points. In Philadelphia, the tide may be turning.
He dribbles. He shoots from the top. It's up. It's gone. Ish Smith, top of the key. 2-point field goal.
Tom McGinnis on WPEN with the call as Ish Smith leads the 76ers to their 3rd win in their last 6 games, beating the Timberwolves 109-99. The Sixers still sit in the basement with a record of 4-33. Other scores, Miami beat Indiana in overtime. The Spurs hammer the Bucks, the Kings over the Thunder as Kevin Durant sits, and the Rockets beat the Jazz, the Pistons on top of the Magic, the Celtics win in Brooklyn, and the Grizzlies took care of the Trailblazers. Dave Packer, ABC Sports.
For News Radio 1030 KMAS, FM 103.3 and KMAS.com. Good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey, 710, and we're checking sports. Paige Croson scored 24. Ted Boards and her layup with 1:52 to play gave Utah the lead for good in its 88-83 win over Washington last night. Other sports news, the Cougs were able to pull out a win against the team there, Colorado, 74-66. Maria Kostakova scored 17, and Coach June Doherty earned her 100th victory in 9 seasons at Washington State. Became the first Pac-12 coach to collect 100 victories at 2 Pac-12 conference schools. Seattle Seahawks will play in Minnesota this weekend in the first round of the playoffs. Sunday morning at 10. We have our coverage starting at 8. Other playoff games this weekend are on Saturday, Kansas City at Houston, then Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, and Sunday, the morning game, like we mentioned, is the Hawks, and then Green Bay at Washington. We'll air all the games this weekend, and you have a chance to head out on a wild card scramble as part of the Lacey South Sound Chamber coming up from 12:30 to 7:30 on the 9th. Some other sporting notes for you. Tomorrow we will find out who gets into Cooperstown, and likely, almost unanimously, Ken Griffey Jr. will see his name hoisted upon the greats of Cooperstown. Also expected to see Mike Piazza, former Met great catcher for the Mets, and some other teams as well, head on into Cooperstown. There's a couple more folks that they're on the bubble. We'll find out tomorrow for sure. Tomorrow night as well on KMAS.com. Join us for another online video cast of Shelton basketball. North Thurston comes to the Mini Dome, and our coverage starts around 7:12, and here's Carol.
Good morning. I have the weather. Right now it's 36 with some light rain, and rain is forecasted today on and off, tapering off sometime this evening, and then starting again about midnight with some little more rain, overnight low of 34. But tomorrow we should wake up to partly cloudy sky. There's going to be sunshine during the day, high of 46, only about a 10% chance of rain, and this should continue all week. Sun and clouds, daytime temps, low 40s, and nighttime temps, low 30s.
Oof.
What a difference a day makes.
It really does.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dan on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from the gateway to the Olympic Mountains, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It's 7:13, and in about 15 minutes, your representatives, State Senator Tim Sheldon, Representative Drew McEwen, and Representative Dan Griffey will all be meeting in a legislative send-off this morning at the Colonial House. And it's being put on in partnership with the Shelton Mason County Chamber of Commerce, the North Mason Chamber of Commerce, the City of Shelton, the County of Mason, and Mason County's Economic Development Council. This is an opportunity for folks to talk with your representatives and offer up some suggestions about ways you'd like to see them work for you in the upcoming session. One way that someone may think of is a little more environmental health, or a little more protection to the coastlines. And there are some razor clam digs going on.
There is. It was just approved. The state shellfish managers approved razor clam digs starting later this week at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. So people love that. And everybody, have you ever gone razor clam digging?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, everybody lines up on the beach, and you go there. You have to have your fishing license because you are only supposed to take a certain amount, et cetera, et cetera. So the upcoming dig is scheduled on the following days. It starts January 7th, goes through the 14th. They're all evening digs, Long Beach and Capales. And you can see the exact dates I have them on our Facebook page, and I also have them on our website under recreation. You can only take 15 razor clams per day, and you're required to keep the first 15 that you dig. So if you don't get good ones with the first 15, you're
Too bad.
Yeah, too bad.
Maybe tomorrow. That sounds pretty cool. What all do you need? Probably boots and a clam gun.
Some people don't have a clam dug. No, you wouldn't use gloves. Well, you might use gloves with a clam dug, but if you're going to dig down, I doubt if you're using your fingers. It's really fun, actually. I mean, you get it's like finding gold, because you got trying to locate that. If you don't have a clam dug.
Gold is not slimy.
It's not slimy. It's not slimy. It's salt water. It's washing.
I don't know about this, Carol.
We should find somebody. Actually, I think Angie, who used to work here, she has the pretty picture that we have on our website. I put that often. It was an evening dig. I'm not sure.
Is that her?
Yeah. I'm not sure where that was. I think her mom took that picture. But anyways.
She's got gloves on.
Yeah, it's an evening dig. It's cold out, but when you're actually touching the water, I doubt if you have your gloves on, unless maybe you have maybe they have special clam digging gloves. I don't know. I haven't been for a long, long time, but we should try it sometime. Maybe not this one, because it's, really quickly, but they'll have another one, and we'll go out there and film the whole thing and go for it.
Okay.
All right.
Making a
Are you
plan.
game?
I'm game.
All right.
7:16 at KMAS. We're going to take a break here shortly. And when we come back, we'll talk about some other things that are going on around the Northwest here. There are plenty of new movies coming out throughout the year, and January is no different. The big movie of the year already is Star Wars, but not A Force Awakens. It's Star Wars Rogue One. This is the first spin-off Star Wars movie.
Is it an animation?
Nope, real movie.
Who made it?
Disney. It's a legit Disney, part of the Star Wars canon. Here's how it's going to work out.
All right.
You remember in episode 4, A New Hope, the rebels, Luke and Leia and all those gang, they got the plans to the Death Star.
Okay.
Well, how? Rogue One will answer the questions. It's the time period between episode 3, when Anakin becomes Darth, and episode 4, when we first meet a young Luke Skywalker. So it is how the rebels come upon the plans for the Death Star, and then it subsequently blow it up later in the movie.
So this is just online?
No, this is a real release, December.
Seriously?
Every year, I think, until people don't go to the movies anymore, Disney will release a Star Wars movie.
Interesting.
And this is just one of the first ones.
Well,
Rogue
there you go, folks.
One.
You heard it here.
Some of the other ones that are coming out this month, tomorrow. Now, I'm not too sure on this, because I'm a fan of Sherlock on PBS. I know we've got some listeners that also like the show.
Have you seen the new one already? It's out.
No. And this one I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
Came out Friday night, this past Friday night.
Okay, I have not seen it yet.
Okay, I haven't either, so we won't spoil it for each other. But there is a movie coming out into the theaters with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman as the Sherlock characters. Now, the name of it is The Abominable Bride. And I don't know if this is the same one that they showed Friday night on PBS. I think it was a Victorian spin movie.
Yeah, that was a Victorian one. The name sounds familiar.
So it is. Look at this. It is this special theatrical event expected to play in over 500 theaters, whatever.
Is the same one that came out on AMC?
And it's the same one that came out earlier in the week. On PBS. If you've never seen these Sherlocks, there's only 3 a season.
Right.
They're an hour and a half each. They're movies.
Yeah,
and they are top.
They are. They're so good.
They are so good.
I do. I love them.
What's better, Carol? Sherlock? This is a good one. Watch it. Or Walking Dead?
Well, you can't compare them.
Good answer, Dodge.
I mean, it's like saying, do you like apples better or oranges?
Yes. I like apples better than oranges.
All right. Okay. Maybe that doesn't work. No, they're so different. You can't compare them. It's 2 totally different genres.
Both TV shows.
It doesn't matter.
They're both great.
Yeah, they are both
If you've
great.
never seen Sherlock, it's going to be in the theaters. And so a friend of the station, friend of mine on Facebook, Lene, and I were chatting about this. I said, so they put it in the theater because there's people, certain segments of the population that thinks PBS is lame. And that's why they put it out in the theater. So people would be more interested to go see it. Because Benedict Cumberbatch, I mean, hello.
I know. But there is surprisingly a lot of good shows on PBS.
Downton Abbey started up again.
It's a good show, too.
You're listening
other
to
ones
with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
Hi, this is Terry Allen with a look at the community calendar on KMAS. Nonprofits post your events on KMAS.com. Yoga classes are held every Monday and Wednesday evening from 6 to 7:30 at Harmony Hill. Everyone's welcome, regardless of fitness level or experience. Drop-in fee is $12. Call 898-2363 for more info. For KMAS News Radio, I'm Terry Allen.
Hi, my name is Karen Herr, Mason County Auditor, and you're listening to Jeff and Dale on Daybreak on KMAS Radio.
So Sherlock is out tomorrow, but it's on PBS, probably on demand if you have that. Some other movies that are coming out this week. One of them, holy cazzoles, The Revenant.
That looks good.
How good does that movie look?
That looks really good.
Do you think Leo will finally get an Academy Award?
He's never had one?
He's never had one. He's been nominated a bunch of times.
Well, he'll be nominated. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen the movie.
Give it to the bear before they give it to Leo.
I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know.
So The Revenant, and we learned from Port Commissioner Dick Taylor a couple weeks ago that The Revenant meant Left 4 Dead.
All right. There we go.
Not to be confused with the movie franchise Left 4 Dead, or the popular metal band that was one time on Songwriters Stage here on KMAS. That's going way back.
Left 4 Dead?
Left 4 Dead.
Huh.
Another movie that's coming out, I don't know if you've seen the previews for this, it's called The Forest. And it's a legit place in Japan. The Okagara Forest.
Yes, actually,
Are you familiar with this forest?
Yeah, and it's a legit place. And I have mixed emotions about the movie.
Supernatural thriller set in legendary Okagara Forest at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan. This is a real location. And this movie tells the story of a young American woman in search of her twin sister who has mysteriously disappeared. And despite everyone's warnings not to stray from the path, she dares to enter the forest to discover the truth about her sister's fate, only to be confronted by the angry and tormented souls of the dead who now prey on anyone who crosses her path. This is a real place. Hundreds of people every year go to this forest in Japan, and they don't come back from the forest in Japan. I've seen on Ancient Aliens and stuff, the film crews go in there not knowing what they're going to find, and sure enough, they find encampments, they find bones, and about once a year, again, people go in and they'll do a sweep of the forest,
right?
To look. Some people will string in, they'll string from their car, and they'll carry string in so they know how to get back. And you see these strings. I mean, it's a real place.
It is a real place, and so
Mount Fuji, it's kind of
almost
like, to me. Sorry for going over you here, but it's kind of to me like
messing around with a Ouija board.
Well, I think that it's a really sad place.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're making a movie, to me, sensationalism on it. So I don't know if... I don't know if making a movie, maybe it'll open up the discussion of why it's even there in the first place. Maybe that will be the one good thing that comes out of the movie. Because I think the movie takes away the realism of how sad it is that people go there and then they commit suicide and all sorts of things. And it's a horrible thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
But then so then from my perspective, it's almost like opening up the spirit world.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Hard to say. It's hard to say what knocks in the night.
Forest. Yikes. We'll talk about some other movies throughout the rest of the month, whatever. Some good ones coming out. Right Along 2 with Ice Cube is next week. Dirty Grandpa. You seen that preview with Zac Efron and Robert De Niro? Dirty Grandpa.
No.
And
I saw Bad
De Niro's the grandpa, obviously.
Right.
It looks like a good one.
I'm sure it would be. Both those characters would be fun.
726, Carol. CES is ongoing now, the Computer Electronics Show down in Vegas. We were talking about the Internet of Everything. First off, do we know what that means?
It means that all things will be connected to the Internet, meaning physical things, not just things in the cloud.
Okay.
That's what I take it to mean.
Like your Nest home thermometer.
Well, even more. Everything. Speaking of movies, Back to the Future, he's flying around on a hoverboard, but how about hover shoes?
Hover shoes. Tell me more.
Well, they're called rocket skates, and it's an electronic skateboard, but they're your shoes themselves. And then they're hooked up to your phone, of course. There's an app, smartphone app. So it's a way to travel up to speeds of 12 miles per hour.
So there are wheels on this shoe, and you can control the speed.
I don't even know if those are wheels or if those are hovering. It's hard to say exactly what's going on with that.
Interesting one.
It is an interesting one. And then, of course, there's, your drones happening still. There is still a lot... a TV that rolls up, it's so thin, it rolls up, it's on flexible type paper.
I saw a cell phone commercial where they took a screen and did that.
Yeah. And
that was real?
Yeah, it's real. They also have a 360 fly camera the size of a little ball, has one lens.
I've seen that.
It's a round view of video. I can't say that word right now.
Even your refrigerators. Now, So our refrigerator has SodaStream built into it, and that's that thing where you can carbonate water and add stuff and for whatever. But when we were looking at new fridges, I'm not going to not say that I thought about getting an internet-enabled refrigerator to help with, because there's, you can take pictures inside your fridge and it'll tell you what you have, what's expired, this and that, the other thing. And they make lists. They give you recipes based on the food in your fridge. That's amazing. They do. I don't know who they are, but they're very smart.
Well, we're heading that way. So why not be on the cusp of the new thing?
Do you think it's better to jump on board with these things right away so you have a working knowledge, or stay back at the fray and then when you're forced to get into it, you're kind of like grumpy old man?
Well, I think it depends on your personality. Are you one that loves it and embraces it and helps move it forward? Or are you the grumpy old man that wants to say, I'm a Luddite, I don't want to deal with it, it's not happening? I don't know. To me, it's like, it's all new and interesting. And if you're afraid of it, then why don't you find out what it is? And then you can determine if it's really that fearful.
It's kind of scary, though.
Maybe make something yourself. And then you can see how technology works.
Speaking of, Zuckerberg's personal challenge for the year is to create a autonomous robot butler at his house in beautiful Silicon Valley, California.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Jarvis and Iron Man.
Well, they already have not quite that. It's funny because whenever you see a robot or something online or on TV, it's the latest and greatest, they show you the best aspects of it at that moment. And it's usually been programmed just recently by a human. They haven't got to the point that we know of that their robots are actually learning by themselves and know how to do things. I was watching a TED Talk this weekend, which was really incredible, about the gal, I can't remember her name. She's a woman, and she was heading up this thing at Google where Google takes pictures of everything, and they're trying to create some artificial intelligence that will recognize a picture. And so like a 3-year-old can see a picture and say, oh, that's a little boy on a blanket playing with his cat. Now, the computer right now can only say there's a little boy on the couch and there's a cat. It doesn't understand that the boy is happy. It doesn't understand that play is involved. But that's their next level.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting. It's very interesting.
7:30, time for the news. Mary Lynn Foster on KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The Mason County coroner has released the name of a scuba diver who died while diving in the Hood Canal near Hoodsport on Sunday morning. Mason County coroner Wes Stockwell identified the dead scuba diver as Todd Randall McDonald, age 56, from Vancouver, Washington. Stockwell said that a cause of death has not yet been determined and that an autopsy would take place early this week. McDonald was reportedly diving with a group Sunday morning near Hoodsport at a popular dive area called Octopus Hole. Emergency personnel were called when he surfaced while unconscious. The Mason County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation. Joint Base Lewis-McChord is expected to cut about 900 civilian jobs over the next few years. The job reductions will mostly be accomplished by not filling openings and by offering incentives for early retirement. The base currently employs more than 16,000 civilian workers. Greta Powell, chief of the base's Resource Management Office, says the senior leaders at the Washington Military Base have been meeting to discuss how they'll manage the installation with hundreds fewer workers in jobs from retail clerks to daycare providers. The Army, in July, announced it planned to cut 17,000 civilian jobs across the service over the next few years. The Thurston County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing later today at 5:30 p.m. to accept public testimony on amending the interim zoning regulations for state licensed marijuana producers, processors, and retailers, which are currently set to expire in May. County staff recommended that the county's current interim regulations, as amended, be extended by 6 months so that staff can develop and refine a proposal for permanent marijuana zoning regulations that is consistent with any state laws that may be approved during the legislative session. See more detailed information about the proposal to extend the interim regulations. Go to thurstonplanning.org and click on the link for the January 5th Board of County Commissioners hearing. More than 6.5 feet of snow has fallen on Mount Hood this season. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says that's 124% of the normal amount that falls at this time of year and translates into 21.5 inches of water content. Last year, at the same time, the snowfall totals were just 37% of normal. Experts are hoping for even more snowpack that will help sustain the state through the expected 2016 drought season. Longtime Democratic Representative Jim McDermott of Washington State announced yesterday he will not seek re-election for a 15th time when he completes his term at the end of the year. McDermott is the longest-serving member of the state's congressional delegation. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Some other car dealers only worry about selling you cars, often crippling you with interest rates that are through the roof. Not Whitney Chevrolet. Our finance guy is an expert at getting the finance you need at surprisingly low interest rates. Recently, we got a young lady without any credit history who had been turned down at other dealers at an extremely low interest rate. Now that's a big deal. Check out our inventory at whitneychev.com, then come in and see us.
A $150 negotiable document fee may be added to the price of all vehicles.
Just down the road to Whitney.
Take control of your money. Start by listening to The Dave Ramsey Show.
If you want to play around with getting out of debt, you will never get out of debt. The way you get out of debt is you get fired up and you pop it in the nose, and you pop it in the nose again, and you pop it in the nose again. You gotta get after it, man. And don't be trying to play some kind of game with this stuff. This is a snake, and it needs to be crushed. As far as I'm concerned, all snakes are poisonous. It's pretty easy. Hi, this is Dave Ramsey. Tune into my show weekdays from noon to 3 here on KMAS.
Well, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here at KMAS 635. And Carol will update you on a weather forecast here shortly. And looking at sports, currently the Hawks are going to be playing in the first round of the wild card this weekend, taking on Minnesota in Minnesota. We'll have the game for you Sunday morning at 10, starting our coverage at 8. Other playoff games this weekend: Saturday, Kansas City and Houston, then Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Morning game, like I mentioned, the Hawks, and then it'll be Green Bay at Washington. These are all going to be great games, and we'll have them all for you on KMAS AM 1030 and FM 1033. Tomorrow night on KMAS.com, join us for another online video cast of Shelton basketball. North Thurston comes to the Mini Dome, and our coverage with Sean Wells starts right around 7 o'clock. Some other sports notes for you. Tom Coughlin has resigned from the Giants. He was the coach there, and Indianapolis coach Chuck Pagano was given a 4-year extension. That was kind of surprising to many. Here's a story that I did not follow up on or did not hear about Sunday. The U.S. women's soccer team refused to play in an international game on Sunday because of unsafe field conditions. They took a battered, rock-filled artificial turf field, and they've turned it into a symbol between the treatment of men and women at the highest levels of soccer. Some of these pictures are amazing, like lifting up the actual turf, which means, somebody could get their foot stuck underneath there. And Alex Morgan, who is the team's most visible player, told Fox Soccer that the conditions there were horrible. I think the team needs to be a little more vocal about whether this is good for our bodies and whether we should be playing on it, and if the men would be playing on it or not. What's the deal there? What's going on? So that is an interesting story as the women's soccer team canceled their game this past weekend. 7:36, and here's Carol with the weather.
Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
Right now it's 36 with some light rain. There's going to be cloudy a little bit today, then showers in the afternoon, high of 39. The rainfall, they say, is going to be about 1/4 inch when it gets all done today. So there will be quite a bit later on with an overnight low of 34. And tomorrow we should wake up to partly cloudy sky with sunshine, which I like that part of the forecast. A high is 46 and only a 10% chance of rain. And this should continue throughout the rest of the week with sun and clouds, daytime temps low 40s, nighttime temps of low 30s. And right now it's 36.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from the southernmost tide pool of Puget Sound, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
Well, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here, KMAS 737. Carol and I have been talking about the Internet of Things at this year's CES. And one of the, I would assume, most advanced technologically companies is Amazon. Mm-hmm. Would you say that?
I would totally say that.
They got robots that go and get, you order something, and they got robots that go over, pick it up. I think eventually there's a human in there somewhere just to kind of give it a look once over. Stephanie just ordered something and it wasn't even in there.
Wasn't even in.
She got a new sewing machine and the foot pedal wasn't in there.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. So we're trying to figure out what that's about.
That's weird.
But everybody was joining up on this Amazon Prime over this holiday. I think it was an increase of 30 million people, and at $100 a pop, that's $300 million for Amazon just right there.
Yeah.
Items ordered from Amazon this past Cyber Monday, just after Thanksgiving, rose more than 40% over the year, exceeding $23 million. 23 million orders for the first time. The company in Seattle said today that in 2015, it delivered more than 1 billion items around the world. During the holiday season, it shipped worldwide, and that grew more than 60% from a year earlier. That place is just going like gangbusters.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
I think they're opening up new shops up in Seattle and up in the North End, all over the place. New fulfillment centers. new, just kind of behind the scenes, internet working.
Is
people.
Amazon building those big, huge skyscrapers or they're not really huge?
I think they are.
Or is that Google?
On one in Bellevue?
That's Amazon that's building. They're building 3 new skyscrapers.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
Some other news stories from around the Northwest here. Check out KMAS.com this morning. They got a lot of great stories locally, but an additional story, Washington farmers have lost at least $336 million due to this ongoing drought this past summer. It was so dry, a figure likely to climb as more and more information becomes available. The Capitol Press reports that a state report estimated dollar losses for crops such as wheat, apples, blueberries, and raspberries was part of that $336 million. Losses for other Washington staples like potatoes, milk, the cattle, and things like that will be tallied later as figures on yields and prices become available. Do you think this kind of stuff impacts as we get ready to start the legislative session here in a week? They look at these news notes and go, well, something needs to happen. Either we need to make sure the farmers will be getting some help because there's a lot lost, or is that part? Are these types of things that the legislators are starting to key in on?
You know what? That is a good question to ask our representative when he comes in on Friday. Do you pay attention to the news and do you make notes? Or do you have to be on the committee that you really care about? I mean, then you care about what's happening in that division. Like there's obviously farm.
Sure, the Farm Bureau.
Farm within the state legislature. And if you're on that committee, are you paying attention to these things? I mean, is it coming to your inbox?
Sure. Or what's happening? I'd imagine after the session ends, like any major sporting event ends for a week or two, people don't even think about that sport or that whatever. When do they start thinking about it? As they say, like the Iowa caucusers, we're really going to start focusing on the candidates for Iowa and New Hampshire this week. They have been politicking, for months, this last 6 months. But this is the first week. It's after the year, after the new year. They know that's coming up in a month. So that's when they start to key in. I mean, they're aware.
Right, but I mean, they
key in.
They probably, obviously there is like a plan on a timeline on what exact states that you go to start caucusing in.
Oh, I'm talking about the voters in Iowa.
When did they
start?
I don't know, because everybody makes the biggest deal about Iowa.
Sure.
I mean, compared to anywhere else. I just don't really.
It's the first.
Yeah, so I guess they always know and I bet most of them are like, oh, here it comes again, instead of, oh, right. But then maybe they want to get excited. I mean,
I know TV and radio stations love it.
Yeah.
Lots of ad dollars.
As for the people, maybe we'll call somebody up in Iowa and ask them.
Just do a random dial.
Yeah.
A Washington senator has introduced a bill to make charter schools constitutional, following a ruling by the state Supreme Court last year that struck down the 2012 voter-approved law that created the charter system. Senator Andy Billig's office says the bill would make charter schools accountable to locally elected school boards. The High Court previously took issue that charter schools are supported with state dollars and governed by a board not elected by residents. So that tweak could be just what the charter schools need there.
Right, and I have mixed emotions on that. Yes, I want children to learn, and new ways of learning are great, but at the same time, if they don't have to abide by the same things that public schools have to abide by, then I don't really feel they should get public dollars.
Ooh, good one.
So,
as the price of marijuana continues to drop, and this story is on KMAS.com for more information, pot businesses are struggling to keep up with the changes, and this is kind of something we knew was coming. And back when they were doing the liquor privatization, everybody thought, oh man, I'm going to get my own liquor store, just liquors, and I'm going to make $1 gazillion because, hey, why not? People drink. Well, no, you got to be a little more business savvy. You can't flush the market. And then all these things happen. Well, it turns out marijuana is about the same. And since it entered the market legally in July of 2014, the prices have dropped from about $25 or $30 a gram to about $10 a gram, and that's the street price. And so an ounce, there's 28 ounces in a gram. So now we're at about $280 an ounce, as opposed to 3 times that back in 2014. And according to the Washington Liquor and Cannabis Board, prices are plummeting as new retailers come on the market. Tax changes are also lowering wholesale prices, and people the consumers are starting to see the benefit of all this.
Well, so a person in general has their street person that they buy for $10 a gram. Now that the legal price is $10 a gram, do you support your street person, or do you say, hey, I want to make sure I always have exact prices, and maybe there's something else I want out there for $10 a gram? Do you start going into the stores?
Well, if you've ever been into one of these stores, and for research purposes I have, they have got a wide variety of things that are available to you, much more than like a dealer who opens up his trench coat and says, here's my stash.
Not quite that way.
They don't do that anymore?
I don't think so.
They used to do that with Rolex watches that open the trench coat.
Right.
Anyways, the dealer, and then the other thing is you don't know the quality of the dealers.
Well, people say, from research purposes, I know people have said that their dealer has the best this, best that, but can they produce that every year without really regulating? No. Or is it sort of a hit and miss? I mean,
best. It was the best when it was the only person in town.
Right.
Now, if you were to go science to science and test the strength, these stores, I mean, they know, there's not going to be any kind of fungus. There's not going to be any kind of E. coli, right?
Those are regulated.
I mean, they're regulated. You're supposed to not.
And you can track it. So I think
it's all
that
trackable.
Even though it seems like it's like, oh man, it's like the market's flooded, I think it's actually a good thing.
It could put another big nail in the coffin of the illegal. I mean, people will still always find something else, but
the whole idea is to make it legal, so you don't have to worry about opening the trench coat.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
You answered all your emails by noon. Get a freshly prepared Egg McMuffin. Actually left work on time? Then get yourself a savory sausage McMuffin with egg. You saw the weirdest midnight movie. Well, get a delicious sausage burrito. With McDonald's all-day breakfast menu, you can get delectable breakfast tastes anytime. Egg McMuffin, hotcakes and sausage and more. It's time to start enjoying the breakfast you love whenever you want. Just listen to a radio commercial? Get some golden hash browns. McDonald's all-day breakfast menu varies by location.
This love letter's for my sweet beauty. Your scent drives me all sorts of cray. Every time you touch my lips, ooh, how it makes my day. Rich, smooth, fresh, and steamy. Dang, you're a dream. So let me give you some sugar, and then perhaps some cream. There's no denying your love for a rich, smooth, fresh brewed McCafe. And now, get any size for just $1. A la carte only. Prices and participation may vary. Limited time offer.
I feel right at home on JohnLScott.com.
Hi, this is Dawn Pinnell from John L. Scott Real Estate here in Shelton. For a while now, I have been saying welcome home and sharing with you some great listings and some hopefully educational and interesting items of riveting radio real estate topics. We're moving our time slot to Friday at 8:55, right at the end of the morning show with Jeff and Dale. I hope you will continue to listen and that you will contact me with any of your real estate needs. I would love to help you say, I'm home.
This is Men's Health Live from Men's Health Magazine.
Lou, how do we account for this nation full of heavy people?
We eat a lot of foods that our bodies simply, throughout our evolutionary history, we haven't encountered these. Our grandparents didn't encounter these foods. In a lot of cases, our parents didn't encounter these foods. So we have absolutely no defense mechanism.
Men's Health Live, the radio show that's full of tons of useful stuff. From the biggest and best-selling men's lifestyle magazine in the world, Men's Health.
The craziness is returning to the kennel.
Wiltshire behind his back with a dribble, and he scores. Sent Kornowski to his left, pulls up, shoots, scores, and a foul.
Zags basketball from IMG.
Corners, Nelson driving, baseline, and a two-handed throw down dunk. Oh my goodness, Silas Nelson
from no buzzer
and throws it down with two hands.
Follow the action all season long on your home for Bulldogs basketball, the Gonzaga IMG Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Don Miner. Just listening to Jeff and Dale on KMAS, the best station in town.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here at KMAS. Oh, here at Don Miner, making me frigid this morning. You know why?
Not quite sure why.
Well, because Don, It's going to get us to jump into the water on February 6th. And Carol's jumping in this year, too.
I have been told that's what I was going to be doing.
Yeah. No, it's great fun at the Alderbrook Resort and Spa. Beautiful. Union, Washington. And it is the, 7th annual, maybe, Polar Bear Plunge to help out Mason County Emergency Services. Dale and I have been doing it for a long time now. And some years when we were at in Hoodsport, I mean, you go out to the end of the dock and it's already cold. And then you're driving in along the water, beautiful morning. It's crisp, clear day. And you look into the water and he's like, is there a duck sitting on a piece of ice? Wait a second. Is there ice that has formed in this water? And I'm about to jump into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all for a great cause. And you jump in, you jump out, you have a good time. You can sign up and jump yourself. We'll get the information on our Facebook page. We'll pass that along. It's a lot of fun. We've been doing it for many years. It's the day before the Super Bowl. So the 6th of February, 7th of February, we will hopefully see our Seahawks back in the Super Bowl. They're going to be in San Francisco this year. Wouldn't that be something out? Beast mode looking good.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be on the field this Sunday morning, 8 o'clock the pregame, 10 o'clock the kickoff, right here on KMAS, all part of our wild card weekend here on KMAS. We've got all 4 games, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and lots of changes, wholesale changes in the NFL. Many coaches said bye-bye. Many coaches are being moved from hither and yon, and some folks are getting re-upped. Much to the surprise of many of the viewers and followers of the NFL. So a great season, regular season, looking, they're working hard at the right time, and the Hawks are doing good stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun to hear them this Sunday morning on KMAS. 7:51 here now at Daybreak. And Carol's on our Twitter feed. Any emergency information this morning? It's really different than yesterday. What a difference. You've said it, and it really is true.
It's very different today. I mean, it was just sort of a rainy. Well, let's see. Something just popped up. You asking for it, Jeff, or whatever?
I must
Collision on I-5 near US 101 near at milepost 104. This happened exactly yesterday. So that does happen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And these collisions, they happen and then usually are quickly cleared up. They got the DOT. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but you can see he has the sign on the back of his truck, and he goes out there and he's right there, and he or she, and they help the people in WSP's called or whatever, and they get the roads cleared up as fast as possible. So
when you do those pronouns and stuff, that's hard to do. He, she, that kind of stuff.
Is it?
When I was in debate class at Western, you say, all right, guys. You say guys a lot. And it often works for you say guys, and it includes guys and gals.
Mm-hmm.
My debate teacher told me one time to say y'all. I say y'all a lot,
Mm-hmm.
And it is his theory was that it is more inclusive.
Yeah, but to me, it's a Southern. For me, I mean, because I know people from the South that would say y'all all the time, and to me, it's a I don't know, whatever you call it, word they use in the South. I mean, you can use it. There's no reason why you can't.
But
use it.
do you put it on instead of going he or she or finding the proper pronouns or fire men, fire women, fire people, whatever? Because you just did that. You said whoever, if he's driving or she's driving.
Well, would you say?
I'd say they
fire y'all.
No, but when I gather folks, I'll say, "Come on, y'all."
I know, but so automatically in my mind, because it's been hardwired programmed to assume that some male was driving the rescue truck for DOT. And then I realized my mistake immediately, and I went, or she could be driving. So it was before I even have the they there.
Does
that make any sense?
Yeah. Do you think it's important to do that, to make these qualifications?
Yeah. Because then it just brings awareness that it's not just always a guy driving the truck. There could be, I mean, what if it is the gal driving the truck and she's like, hey, I'm a she driving the truck, not a he driving the truck. So I think, especially being a female, maybe you being the male species are like, what's with all that feminist liberal stuff?
No, I'm not like that at all. And you know
I know that I'm just joking.
No, I was just wondering, and it's great that you have that perspective and were able to share it with us about that. I just wonder because you guys fire people,
or firemen, firewomen, firefolk, police folk.
I don't know. Firefolk could be.
7:55 at KMAS. The Old Farmer's Almanac's coming up. And I've got the topic right here, as a matter of fact. Champagne to vinegar. What an interesting topic. If you leave champagne out, does it turn into vinegar?
I think
we'll find out.
I don't know. Maybe.
Saw on the internet, Carol, that for $75 you can buy the world's smallest drone with a camera. Smaller than the size, about half the size of the palm of your hand.
Huh.
These fully recharged drones are everywhere.
They are.
Do you have you don't have a drone?
I don't yet.
Did you get one?
Would I get one? Maybe.
Everybody's got a drone now.
Well, pretty soon they will. And then we were talking about the show down in Vegas, and China just revealed one of theirs. It can be flown up to 1.2, about 0.75, about 3/4 of miles away instead of what is that? Instead of 3.1 miles. So I'm not quite sure exactly what that means.
I see what you're saying now. So this drone that you're looking at has a 4K camera in it, and it drops the range to 1/4 mile. It used to be 3 miles.
Okay, I gotcha.
Wow, a 3 mile. How do you even see that far? I guess you have the camera on your remote control. These drone things, and then you got to register them if they're over 8 ounces or something like that now, to make sure that because. Like you said, then there was that video of the drone that fell on the skier. I mean, you would want to know whose drone that was.
Yeah.
I would want to know whose drone that was.
Yeah, exactly. And then earlier I had something about Ford is connecting to, or actually a lot of the cars, Honda, Subaru, Mazda, they're considering supporting a system that allows smartphones to connect to your vehicle's dashboard. So that would be interesting. So you can set up whatever you want from your house or wherever you're at, and then it's going to happen in your car.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then the whole Google Glasses thing is still going on. The smart glasses, that is...
Would you put an electronic contact lens in your eyeball if it meant you could either see further or have the latest Yelp reviews pop up?
Well, I probably wouldn't want the Yelp reviews, but yeah, I would.
Some augmented reality, perhaps?
Yeah, as long as you could figure, which one I live in, the real or the fake.
There is the Oculus Rift, which is a big virtual reality system. It is starting its pre-orders this week or next week, and I think it's going to be very reasonably priced, and it is a game changer when it comes to VR. I mean, I think of VR, virtual reality, the first thing that I think of is The Lawnmower Man.
Right.
That movie with Pierce Brosnan and there was that guy, Job, whatever his name was. He was the Lawnmower Man. He became super smart because of virtual reality. But it was so weird graphics, like early 90s graphics. Now, it's like real people, and you're interacting with real people. That'll be the big Christmas gift of this year.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Don't pour the bubbly down the drain. A fun use for leftover champagne today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Tuesday, January 5th, the 5th day of the year. Actor Robert Duvall has a birthday, and it was 55 years ago today that a talking horse made his TV debut. Mr. Ed, of course. Still have some bubbly left over from your New Year's celebration? Don't pour it down the drain. When exposed to air, champagne eventually turns to vinegar that would otherwise be quite expensive. Here's how. Pour the champagne into clean jars covered only with a paper towel. After 6 weeks, cap the jars and store in the pantry for up to 6 months. Then use the champagne vinegar for cooking or in your favorite vinaigrette recipe. People who've tried it say it's quite mild and surprisingly delicious. There is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. You can find more household tips online. Just go to almanac.com.
Start your mornings live and local with Daybreak on KMAS Shelton. Join Jeff and Dale weekdays from 6 to 9 on AM 1030 or FM 1033.
So what's up?
Well, you know what? This HUD stuff is going on quite a bit. I want to ask Art about what he thinks about that. We've been getting chatter. We've been hearing chatter about this.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is it you want to ask Art about?
HARP and CERN.
Whoa. Okay. Well, I can start with HARP. I can help you out. You don't need Art for that. The deal with HARP is it's being turned over to a university, if you can believe that.
Midnight in the Desert with Art Bell, live weeknights 9 to midnight on KMAS.
We have awkward moments on the Darren Streblow Comedy Show.
I'm standing in the hallway of an expensive hotel in little strawberry underwear.
Hi, this is comedian Darren Streblow, and each week I have some of my funniest comedian friends join me on the Darren Streblow Comedy Show. You'll hear stand-up, funny music, and yes, even an occasional awkward moment. So join me and laugh on the Darren Streblow Comedy Show, Saturday nights at 9 on KMAS News Radio.
From Columbine and Newtown, Connecticut, as he announces new executive action on gun control. More from ABC's Karen Travers.
These executive actions will narrow what's called the gun show loophole, requiring more people to register as licensed gun dealers, which will then require background checks on their buyers. But the administration was not able to say how many sellers will be impacted going forward and how many additional background checks will now be conducted. To prepare for the expected increase, the FBI will hire more than 200 additional examiners. Karen Travers, ABC News at the White House.
A United Airlines jet slid off an icy runway at Spokane International Airport in Washington this morning. No one was hurt. Wicked weather their way comes in California. The first of a series of storms fueled by El Nino has started to rain. ABC's Alex Stone is there.
As this El Nino rain comes down here, the concern is in areas that had wildfires burning in recent years. Those neighborhoods have soil that is fragile. It could slide. That's why some neighborhoods have sandbags piled up. They have cement K-rails set up. Those K-rails meant to divert any mud and floodwaters that come down off the charred hillsides.
The Texas affluenza teen did not keep a low profile while on the run in Mexico. Investigators say he partied at strip clubs and got kicked out. He was brought back to his mother, who was forced to pay his tab. Meanwhile, ABC's Matt Gutman tells us she's due in court in L.A. today.
Connie Couch is expected to be brought in shackles to this courthouse to face her extradition hearing, which she is not expected to contest, which will bring to an end this improbable odyssey for this suburban Texas mom that's taken her from Texas to Mexico, to California, all the way back to Texas.
It's been a record-breaking year for auto sales. Ford sales were up 5% in the U.S., the best showing in 10 years. GM sales were up 6%, thanks to low gas prices and cheaper credit. This is ABC News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Call Quicken Loans now to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Racing legend Richard Petty.
After over 1,100 races, you could say I've been through the ringer. To help me keep feeling my best, I use odor-free Blue MU made with real MU oil. Blue MU continuous pain relief spray makes it perfect for all those hard-to-reach places. And now there's the new Blue MU Maximum Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. Perfect for hard-hitting arthritis pain. Thanks to Blue MU, nothing slows down the king. Use what I use, Blue MU. It works fast and you won't stink.
Available at Walmart, Walgreens, and other fine retailers. Illinois residents hoping for tax refunds may have to wait this year. ABC's Ryan Burrow tells us why.
The Illinois Department of Revenue says the reason for delaying refunds until March is to crack down on fraud and abuse. Terry Hortzman with the agency says the move saved the state nearly $5 million last year.
We want to ensure that the security and confidentiality of taxpayer information is secure, and we have initiated a review process to combat against fraudulently filed returns.
The State Department of Revenue says the move has nothing to do with Illinois' budget impasse, which has delayed the release of some lottery winnings. Ryan Burrow, ABC News, Chicago.
If you're looking for faster cash and feeling lucky, you can bet on the Powerball jackpot. It has ballooned to $400 million. A Pennsylvania company has been ordered to pay employees $1.75 million for forcing them to clock out when they took short breaks, even bathroom breaks. The company thought it wasn't required to pay for break times. The bill includes back pay and damages to 6,000 employees. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Marilyn Foster. The Mason County coroner has released the name of a scuba diver who died while diving in the Hood Canal near Hoodsport on Sunday morning. Mason County coroner Wes Stockwell identified the dead scuba diver as Todd Randall McDonald, age 56, from Vancouver, Washington. Stockwell said that a cause of death has not yet been determined and that an autopsy would take place early this week. McDonald was reportedly diving with a group Sunday morning near Hoodsport at a popular dive area called Octopus Hole. Emergency personnel were called when he surfaced while unconscious. The Mason County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation. Joint Base Lewis McChord is expected to cut about 900 civilian jobs over the next few years. The job reductions will mostly be accomplished by not filling openings and by offering incentives for early retirement. The base currently employs more than 16,000 civilian workers. Greta Powell, chief of the base's Resource Management Office, says the senior leaders at the Washington Military Base have been meeting to discuss how they'll manage the installation with hundreds fewer workers in jobs from retail clerks to daycare providers. The Army, in July, announced it planned to cut 17,000 civilian jobs across the service over the next few years. The Thurston County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing later today at 5:30 p.m. to accept public testimony on amending the interim zoning regulations for state licensed marijuana producers, processors, and retailers, which are currently set to expire in May. County staff recommended that the county's current interim regulations, as amended, be extended by 6 months so that staff can develop and refine a proposal for permanent marijuana zoning regulations that is consistent with any state laws that may be approved during the legislative session. See more detailed information about the proposal to extend the interim regulations. Go to thurstonplanning.org and click on the link for the January 5th Board of County Commissioners hearing. More than 6.5 feet of snow has fallen on Mount Hood this season. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says that's 124% of the normal amount that falls at this time of year and translates into 21.5 inches of water content. Last year, at the same time, the snowfall totals were just 37% of normal. Experts are hoping for even more snowpack that will help sustain the state through the expected 2016 drought season. Longtime Democratic Representative Jim McDermott of Washington State announced yesterday he will not seek re-election for a 15th time when he completes his term at the end of the year. McDermott is the longest-serving member of the state's congressional delegation. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Tune in all season long to NFL Insider on Westwood One. Hi, this is Mark Malone. Join me each week as we whip around the league and break down the NFL. We'll hear from today's stars and yesterday's heroes as James Lofton sits down with a fellow member of the Hall of Fame. We'll also check in with former greats Rod Woodson and Donovan McNabb to help us break down all the latest NFL news. That's NFL Insider right here.
Sunday morning at 6:30 on KMAS.
Hi, Tom Hartman here. Join me 9 to noon on News Radio 1030 KMAS. This is not an election cycle where middle-of-the-road Democrats are going to stir up enough of the base and enough excitement and enthusiasm that they're going to seriously win elections. And that's the thing that Republicans have figured out, Democrats have yet to learn, which is that elections are not about swaying so-called undecided voters. They're about stirring up the base. The base will bring the undecided voters along with them. They'll do it through social media. They'll do it through talking to neighbors. They'll do it by talking to people at the workplace. But you've got to energize the base.
An epic night in Kansas. Hi, everyone. Dave Packer reporting on sports. College basketball reigned supreme Monday night as the top two teams delivered an instant classic. Hosting number 2 Oklahoma at Allen Fieldhouse, top-ranked Kansas emerged victorious in a triple overtime thriller.
Buddy Hield fires. And Jayhawks win it.
Brent Musburger on ESPN with the call as Oklahoma's Buddy Hield missed the 3 as time expired, giving the Jayhawks the 109-106 victory. Hield put up 46 points in the losing effort. If it weren't for the theatrics in Kansas, Bryce Johnson of UNC would have been the story of the night. He dominated in number 6 North Carolina's victory over Florida State, finishing with 39 points and 23 rebounds. Elsewhere in college, Virginia Tech upset number 4 University of Virginia. And Black Monday was bright for Chuck Pagano. The Indianapolis Colts gave the head coach a 4-year contract extension. His reaction?
Absolutely the best day of my life.
Stephen Curry put his fans' concerns to rest, battling injury. Curry put up 30 points in the Warriors' 111-101 victory over the Charlotte Hornets. It was Draymond Green, though, who stole the show. He became the second Warrior ever to post 3 straight triple-doubles. LeBron James and the Cavaliers handled the Toronto Raptors with ease, winning by 22 points. In Philadelphia, the tide may be turning.
He dribbles. He shoots from the top. It's up. It's gone. Ish Smith, top of the key. 2-point field goal.
Tom McGinnis on WPEN with the call as Ish Smith leads the 76ers to their 3rd win in their last 6 games, beating the Timberwolves 109-99. The Sixers still sit in the basement with a record of 4-33. Other scores: Miami beat Indiana in overtime. The Spurs hammer the Bucks. The Kings over the Thunder as Kevin Durant sits. And the Rockets beat the Jazz, the Pistons on top of the Magic, the Celtics win in Brooklyn, and the Grizzlies took care of the Trailblazers. Dave Packer, ABC Sports.
For News Radio 1030 KMAS, FM 1033, KMAS.com. Good morning. Jeff Slakey here, checking sports. We'll see what's going on in the weather and have some more conversations with Dale Hubbard here in just 1 second. But we want to let you know that the Hawks are going to play in Minnesota this weekend in the first round of the playoffs. Sunday morning at 10 is the kickoff. We start our coverage at 8. Other playoff games are on Saturday: Kansas City at Houston and Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Minnesota. The games on this wild card weekend here at KMAS. Tomorrow night on KMAS.com, join us for another online video cast of Shelton basketball. North Thurston comes to the Mini Dome, and Sean Wells has our coverage starting right around 7 o'clock. Many coaches did get pink slips yesterday. Some coaches did not. We'll go over those in just a little bit with Dale here on KMAS. But first, we got to check the weather. And here's Carol.
Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Right now, it's 36 with some light rain. It's going to be sort of rainy and showery all day, high of 39. There's going to be about a quarter of an inch when the day finishes, and overnight low of 34. Tomorrow, we should wake up to a partly cloudy sky and then eventually some sunshine, depending on what time you get up. It's going to be a high of 46 and a 10% chance of rain. It's going to be like this the rest of the week. It's going to be sunny, cloudy, daytime temps of low 40s, nighttime temps of low 30s. Unfortunately, next Saturday, I believe it's Saturday, you're outside.
Yeah, I'll be at my semi-indoor pavilion.
It'll be 34 and a little rainy next Saturday night. But, you know.
But a wind blowing through the open.
Oh,
yeah.
When I'm talking, there's a wind blowing.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email, or Facebook. Now, from the artesian waters of South Puget Sound, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It is 8:12 here at KMAS. Jeff, Carol, and Dale in here with you. Dale, 3 teams.
Yes, sir.
The Oakland Raiders, the St. Louis Rams, and the San Diego Chargers each submitted applications to the NFL offices yesterday to relocate their franchises to the Los Angeles area beginning with the 2016 season.
Yeah.
All the teams submitted all the right documentation. They're all going to look it over now, and the relocation of a franchise requires the affirmative vote of 24 of the 32 teams. So 3 teams coming to LA. What do you think?
Well, much to the chagrin of 3 cities' fan base,
I
might add.
Mm-hmm.
This is an ownership decision. They can't negotiate with the current cities that they're in for new stadiums. So you've heard that argument before, holding a city hostage and demanding blah, blah. And a football stadium, way more of an expensive investment than a basketball arena. Way more.
Oh, yeah.
And a pretty big tax burden for people. So, but even with that, this is kind of crazy. I think you'll see
See, they all three can't go to Los Angeles.
No, how can?
Right, and
There's no way.
why do they want to move in the first place? Because
To get a new stadium.
just to get a new stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, they have
They
a
don't
fan base.
care. They've got a fan base.
Right.
And they're kind of like giving the fan base the big finger.
Yeah, they are.
So it's less expensive to move to LA and get a stadium there than versus building a new stadium where they're at.
Well, yeah, they don't want to spend the money to build the stadium.
The citizens in, like, for example, the citizens in St. Louis County do not want to vote to increase their property taxes to build a new stadium.
Yeah, that's the deal.
And only
And so the rub is that there's 3 teams and there can only be 2 max.
Yeah.
And then they'd have to share a stadium. So it's a little bit of a interesting move. There's been some speculation that possibly Oakland would move down their home games down to the new San Francisco 49ers stadium.
Okay.
Which, on their off days, they'd have their home games there. And that's about an hour and a half drive, I guess, from the Oakland area.
And the Jets and the Giants do this now. They share a stadium.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And they do it fine.
Yeah.
Quite well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's not unheard of. And then San Diego will share with whoever lands in Los Angeles. So whether that's the Rams, more than likely the Rams, and San Diego would share a stadium there. And again, you're talking about a 2-hour drive to get from a little bit better than that from San Diego to Los Angeles. And so it's a pain for the fan that's a true fan of the team. They have to invest in that. Now, if the Raiders move to Los Angeles, that's like 4 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a long drive.
I would not want to do that drive every Sunday.
It's like driving from Ephrata to the Seahawks games. How those people do it, I'll never know.
You got to be a fan.
Yeah, you have to be a hardcore fan.
You got to be a hardcore fan.
And at some level, if that were to happen, and I was such a part of the Raider Nation, I don't know if I would continue. I mean, they had great success in LA, whatever, that's fine.
Now, their stadium is old. My goodness. Madden coached in that stadium.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
And pretty dilapidated and low capacity there. And the amenities aren't like today's amenities.
And that's the other thing is they got to sell this executive suites to everybody.
Yeah. And so,
well, then the name has to change. They can't be called the St. Louis Rams in California.
Well, they can be called the California Rams. They can be Los Angeles
Rams,
which was what they were originally anyway.
Right. Yeah. So that's going to be a whole new thing.
Yeah.
And would they be the LA Rams, the LA Raiders, and the LA Chargers? Would it be the California Chargers?
Well, they might change. One of them might change the front end of that to call it the stadium.
Or just NFC California.
Well,
put them all there. Let's move everybody to California.
Move everybody to California.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there was a time when the Seahawks were going to be the Blackhawks.
Really?
Down around San Francisco. And what was the name of that builder and the guy that bought the station for a cup of coffee? Kind of a roly-poly dude. Do you guys remember this? He bought the team from Smulyan.
Yeah.
No, that's baseball. He bought the team, and he was going to move it down south, and he had a housing development called Blackhawk. And he was going to move the team down there and call them the Blackhawks and all that. And so that got stopped, thankfully. That was back when Tom Flores was coaching. Tom Flores knew the owner. So anyway, these things happen. I feel so bad for fans.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Exactly.
This is the thing. They do hold them hostage. They make them increase their own personal tax base, plus the investment of going to a game and supporting the team. And it's just not, and it's a little bit of a bullying.
And then you're down in California. Who are you?
Who do you choose?
Yeah.
Well,
and then if there's 3 teams in LA,
it doesn't matter.
They split up all the.
It doesn't matter.
base.
LA is the #1 media market. There is 50 million people that live in LA.
Right.
Those stadiums only hold 60,000 people. They're going to find that many.
They'll get them, but you know what? They've never had a rabid base. That's why Los Angeles keeps losing their teams.
There's so much better things to do.
Many things.
Go to the beach.
Yeah.
Listen to the games on the radio and sit on the beach.
Yeah. So
Why don't they move a team to Oregon?
That would be
Portland would love it.
Or Montana.
Portland would love a team. Montana, that part of the country, they don't have any major sports.
Exactly.
Those would be really cool. That would be really cool. And there's, there's some wealth like in the Montana area, certainly. And Oregon's got its share of wealth, so they could support something like that, I think. And like he said, there's 60,000 people, and it's not hard to find enough people to put butts in the seats. the expense is what prohibits people from going.
Yeah.
And throw in the parking and all the other stuff. So I feel bad. I don't like to see movement like this. Of anything, I guess Los Angeles Rams has a familiar ring to me because I remember that being a kid.
LA Rams, yeah.
But the Oakland deals, they've tried this before. They've gone to Los Angeles and came back. I don't know. I hope in San Diego just barely missed.
Yeah.
Endorsing a new stadium down there, just barely. They've tried a couple of times, so it's bad. It's bad. It's the fan is the one that's going to ultimately lose from that.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the coaching changes, some pretty interesting moves made in the National Football League. Not just teams that may be moving, coaches as well. It's 8:20 here at KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
Hi, this is Beth Kizzy from the Salmon Center, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
All right, good morning to you. Daybreak here, KMAS. It's 8:21. We'll check the morning stock numbers in about 8 minutes or so. And we're all chatting about some of the big moves in the NFL with Wild Card Weekend just days away. We get things underway Saturday. We'll have all the games for you on KMAS 1030 AM and FM 103.3. Looks like the Colts, Dale, have kept Chuck Pagano.
Yes, they have.
Interesting.
Sean Payton couldn't agree on a deal.
Really?
You're getting the scoop from old Daily Bob here this morning.
So Sean Payton, the coach,
the New Orleans Saints coach, there was overtures at his direction by the Indianapolis ownership.
Oh.
There was people like, so my favorite guy in the whole world, John Gruden, he was talking about Indianapolis being a good franchise. You got Andrew Luck. When you look down the road the next 5 years, he's going to be an MVP.
Sure.
And so they're not far from a Super Bowl appearance. I don't think the Colts are. And they had all that. They had bad luck this year with injuries. And so, Pagano's not a bad coach. He just had some bad luck. But this was the end of his contract, so the rumors were rampant. Sean Payton doesn't like the way things are deteriorating in New Orleans, and he's not getting any substantial help. And they hated that Jimmy Graham trade.
Oh, yeah.
They hated that trade. And, and so Sean kind of listened, but didn't pull a trigger. And he might be dropped from New Orleans. I don't know.
So Sean Payton, now do the coaches fall under the salary cap? Are they part of the salary cap issue?
No.
Because I know there's like some $30 million dealing with Drew Brees and some other $20 million doing it with another superstar down there that they've got to work on restructuring.
No, that's where you want a good general manager who knows how to move that money around.
The feathers and say, hey, we'll give you a little much here.
Put a little bit back there. Something there for your sister.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, so Pagano's safe for another 4 years.
Amazing.
Yeah, best day of his life. And there's a guy that survived cancer.
It's true.
And he survived Black Monday.
He did. That's why it was the best day of his life.
The oldest coach in the NFL will now be Pete Carroll as...
they did say he was the second oldest on the sidelines the other day.
Yeah,
and
Tom Coughlin.
Tom Coughlin resigned, did not retire, and said he'll listen to some offers. this morning.
Listen, why not? He can come to the 49ers. Why not?
The Miami Dolphins have an opening. I mean, there's a lot of some pretty good franchises out there.
What is a team looking for what do they see in a coach throughout the season that they go, okay, so obviously he's not winning with Team X, but I feel like his style plays perfect with Team Me.
That's exactly what they think. They go, does this guy's philosophy line up with our players or with the way that we want our football team to be?
We run the ball a lot. This coach loves to run the ball.
Yeah,
So
he's a
that's what
defensive specialist.
Do you have to be a coach of college football before you could not even be a coach? And they go, we like your style of whatever you do, how you influence people.
Pitton, the one just got fired from Cleveland, was a high school coach before he went into the pros. He went from high school to the pros, no college at all.
Wow.
And he was an assistant coach at the pro level, and then eventually made his way to a head coaching job. So,
well, speaking of, Johnny Manziel caught partying in Las Vegas Saturday night.
Yeah, he's supposed to be in team headquarters for concussion protocol on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And he was thousands of miles away.
He has a big headache Sunday morning. Hardy.
And he looked a little bit like Laurel and Hardy.
What's interesting is that I was reading this story yesterday, and you says that they posted some photos of him with a goofy mustache and
glasses and a blonde wig.
So he, that night, Saturday night, somehow was able to Instagram a photo of him and his dog with the geotag of Akron.
Yeah.
So nobody's really sure like how that happened. Maybe he had somebody at his house in Akron post a photo
to keep people thinking. And maybe he had intentions of catching the red eye to get back to training camp.
So nobody would know.
Yeah.
They were calling him all day. Nobody could get in touch with him.
Yeah. Johnny, where are you? He'll never play in Cleveland.
Do you think he'll play at all?
Yeah. Oh, in this football, NFL, you bet.
Sign people regardless.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's quarterbacks I've never heard of, and even when they were in college. And they're playing. They're in the playoffs, for crying out loud. So, yeah, he'll land. Probably he wants to go to Dallas. So, and Houston doesn't have the best depth in quarterbacks either. So,
no, would he go to Houston? He just wants to be in Texas.
I think
he wants to be with.
I think he just wants to be in Texas.
I like Houston. I like Bill O'Brien.
You like Houston this weekend? Against Kansas City?
I don't know about that one. They're in Houston. J.J. Watt, who's the other guy, Brian Cushing or something like that. Those guys are great.
I think Kansas City is going to.
So Kansas City's on a 9-game win streak.
Yeah, I think they're just going to keep going.
10-game win streak.
I don't know. I have a feeling
Kansas City's the AFC scary team. Seattle's the NFC scary team. Washington Redskins are playing really good, but I've seen this before, and they're in a cushy side of the league. And so as much as people saying don't sell them short against Green Bay, I think Green Bay is going to take care of them. They really haven't seen, Green Bay, and they're, even if it's not even hitting on all cylinders, they haven't really seen.
Do you have a
Rodgers
for the Super Bowl?
Yes, I do.
Would you like to share it, or would you like to wait till after the Super Bowl?
Denver for the AFC and Seattle.
I think so. Seattle.
Yeah.
So Seattle then knocks out
Carolina next week. Next week.
Oh, they're playing. If they win, they move to Carolina.
The highest seed, which is Seattle 6, plays the number 1 seed in the second round. That's how that works. So they'll play Carolina in Carolina next week. That'll be it. If Seattle can get by Carolina, I think they can beat Arizona again. And I think Arizona can take care of whoever wins between the other two teams. And so that's kind of a quick boom, boom, boom. 3 games, and there you are, back in the Super Bowl.
You don't see Kansas City?
Only because of what's happened with Peyton Manning last week, coming in the second half. I think that rejuvenated that team at a level that we don't even understand. I think that really, all the pressure was released, and they're like, let's go. Boom, it's go time. Now, if they can carry that, Kansas City is going to give them their biggest problem. Oh, they're playing good football.
Yeah.
They've never been out there before, that group, though, that deep into the playoffs. And that comes into play, too. That's why I like Seattle.
Yeah,
we've got experience. Well, we've got a lot of experience. We have nothing to lose. And we've been there. We know the pressure of all of it and the elevated competition of it all, and it is an elevated competition. And so if they haven't been there, they learn. But sometimes it's like a half a game and 30 points later. Oh, I get it now. Too late.
We have 2 minutes till we finish the game. Can you perform a Hail Mary?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of exciting. All the playoff games, wild card weekend this weekend on KMAS. And that wild card scramble has been canceled.
Oh, it has?
Yeah, I meant to mention that to you. Yeah.
Thank you for letting us
Mark
know.
and I were going to party.
Yeah, I know. You guys were. On the line from Edward Jones, Karen Shade, hello.
Well, hello. This morning you get Sherry.
Hey, Sherry. How are you doing, Sherry?
Doing great. Did you guys have
a lot better?
Well, not according to what I heard this morning.
Uh-oh. Happy New Year to you, Sherry.
You guys too.
What's going on with Wall Street?
Well, this morning the U.S. stocks are low change to begin the day as global markets look to stabilize following yesterday's sell-off. Stock markets retreated yesterday after weak Chinese economic data rekindled fears of a global slowdown, promoting a near $20 billion rejection by the People's Bank of China to stabilize its markets. On the domestic economic front, a gauge on manufacturing activity in the New York area rose in December, and U.S. bond prices are little changed. So far this morning in the S&P 500, the best sector is healthcare and the worst is energy. Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 5.24 at 17,143. The Standard & Poor's 500 is up 3.15 at 2,015. The NASDAQ Index is up 8.83 at 4,911. This morning, the volume in the New York Stock Exchange is moderate with 217.55 billion shares traded. Advancers and decliners are evenly matched on the day. In the commodity markets, gold is up $3.05 to $1,077.61, and silver is up 12 cents to $13.99. Crude oil prices are down 44 cents to $36.32. In the bond markets, the 30-year Treasury yield is currently at 3.01%, and the 10-year Treasury yield is at 2.25%. In local stocks today, we have Amazon that is down $3.19. We have Costco that is up 39 cents. We have Boeing that is up 26 cents. Starbucks is up 10 cents, and Microsoft is up 6 cents. This is Sherry of Edward Jones, a member of the SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-term financial advice. We are located at 1051 Southeast State Route 3, Suite E in Shelton. And if you'd like more information, you can contact Karen at 426-4590. And everyone have a fantastic day. Bye.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Marilyn Foster. The Mason County coroner has released the name of a scuba diver who died while diving in the Hood Canal near Hoodspore on Sunday morning. Mason County coroner Wes Stockwell identified the dead scuba diver as Todd Randall McDonald, age 56, from Vancouver, Washington. Stockwell said that a cause of death has not yet been determined and that an autopsy would take place early this week. McDonald was reportedly diving with a group Sunday morning near Hoodspore at a popular dive area called Octopus Hole. Emergency personnel were called when he surfaced while unconscious. The Mason County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation. Joint Base Lewis McChord is expected to cut about 900 civilian jobs over the next few years. The job reductions will mostly be accomplished by not filling openings and by offering incentives for early retirement. The base currently employs more than 16,000 civilian workers. Greta Powell, chief of the base's Resource Management Office, says the senior leaders at the Washington military base have been meeting to discuss how they'll manage the installation with hundreds fewer workers in jobs from retail clerks to daycare providers. The Army, in July, announced it planned to cut 17,000 civilian jobs across the service over the next few years. The Thurston County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing later today at 5:30 p.m. to accept public testimony on amending the interim zoning regulations for state-licensed marijuana producers, processors, and retailers, which are currently set to expire in May. County staff recommended that the county's current interim regulations, as amended, be extended by 6 months so that staff can develop and refine a proposal for permanent marijuana zoning regulations that is consistent with any state laws that may be approved during the legislative session. See more detailed information about the proposal to extend the interim regulations. Go to thurstonplanning.org and click on the link for the January 5th Board of County Commissioners hearing. More than 6.5 feet of snow has fallen on Mount Hood this season. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says that's 124% of the normal amount that falls at this time of year and translates into 21.5 inches of water content. Last year, at the same time, the snowfall totals were just 37% of normal. Experts are hoping for even more snowpack that will help sustain the state through the expected 2016 drought season. Longtime Democratic Representative Jim McDermott of Washington State announced yesterday he will not seek re-election for a 15th time when he completes his term at the end of the year. McDermott is the longest-serving member of the state's congressional delegation. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Ascend Roofing Company in Shelton's on top of it. 868-2730. Roofing work that speaks for itself.
Hey, just a little note to say thank you for the outstanding work that you, Dennis, and especially Jorge and the crew performed for us on our roofing project. On a scale of 1 to 10, we rate it at 10.5. It was a fantastic feeling from start to finish. Your company is a first-class operation and will definitely give your name to all of our friends and family if they're in need of your services.
You could be the next happy customer by calling Ascend Roofing. 868-2730.
The Chad Benson Show.
When you're going to do something stupid, you need to tell the world how stupid you are. You can't just keep it to yourself. You got to broadcast it for the world. You have to say, hey, look at me. I'm an idiot, and I'm doing something completely wrong, and I would love for you to get a lot of views for me, some likes, and some feedback would be super.
The Chad Benson Show.
Hi, this is Chad Benson. Please check out my show this afternoon from 3 to 6 on KMAS News Radio.
For News Radio 1030 KMAS, FM 103.3, KMAS.com. A good morning to you. It is Tuesday here, the 5th of January. We're checking out some notes from the sporting world, and the Hawks are going to play in Minnesota this weekend for Wild Card Weekend. Sunday morning at 10, we have our coverage starting at 8 during the pregame festivities. Other playoff games over the weekend: Saturday, Kansas City and Houston, and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Then Sunday, after the morning game with the Hawks in Minnesota, we'll have Green Bay and Washington. KMAS is going to air all the games this weekend and up through the Super Bowl right here on KMAS. Tomorrow night on KMAS.com. Join us for another online video cast of Shelton basketball. North Thurston comes to the Mini Dome, and our coverage starts with Sean Wells right around 7 p.m. That's about it from sports, and Carol has the weather.
Right now it's 36 with some light rain. It's going to be raining on and off all day, tapering off to showers in the afternoon. We're going to get a high of 39, and then we're going to get an overnight low of about 34. Tomorrow, though, we should wake up to partly cloudy sky, and there's going to be sunshine during the day. We're going to get a high of 46, and there's only going to be about a 10% chance of rain. This trend should continue throughout the week with the sun and clouds, daytime temps, low 40s, nighttime temps, low 30s. Right now, it's 36.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from where I-5 takes a sharp left toward Portland, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It's 8:39 here at KMAS. Tom Hartman is coming up in about 20 minutes. Dave Ramsey after that. Chad Benson, Alex Jones, and Midnight in the Desert comes our way at 9 o'clock here on KMAS. KMAS.com has our full lineup, including some great weekend programs like the Money Pit, Northwestern Outdoors Radio, Science Fantastic with Michio Kaku. Mm-hmm. We've been talking a little science fiction, science fact today.
I don't know if it's science fiction anymore. It seems like it's science fiction. But actually when Dale was in here, we were talking about the CES show down in Vegas, and I was reading a quote by somebody that says, all your things will be connected, but not everything is useful.
I think that's exactly how things. Now, is that a shower head I see in that picture?
Yeah.
What on earth would we need a shower head to be connected to the internet?
I think it's something just about it'll be able to tell your temperature, and a shower head that can alert you when you're using too much water.
That's exactly what I need.
Well, that's sort of like your water bottle. Are you drinking enough water?
No.
No. Here you go. Here's some water. Are you using too much water? Yes. Shower turns off now. Maybe they'll give you a warning. Get rid of the soap.
It starts to get cooler and cooler and cooler as your countdown clock comes on.
Yeah, I know. It's sort of crazy. I mean, they also have fitness fitness trackers. I mean, you yourself have probably had 6 or 7, maybe 3 or 4. Maybe 2?
Fitness trackers?
Yeah. How many different versions have you had already?
Well, I mean, you could just count the apps on the phone. I had a Jawbone one for a while, and now I've got a Fitbit that I use more so for my silent alarm. It's very nice to wake up to a as opposed to an alarm.
Right. So that you don't use it for your health, really. It's mainly just for an alarm.
It tracks my steps. It tracks my steps. It tracks my sleep and quality of, but I do not reference it for, like, when I go to the doctor.
Well, I think that is going to be more in the future. I mean, one of the newer Fitbit ideas is you have a blood pressure monitoring tech on your stopwatch, so you don't have to put on a cuff. It'll just tell you right then. Maybe a bracelet to reduce morning sickness in pregnant women by sending gentle pulses into the wearer's wrist. Not sure. They're still working on the science of that, and then letting you know your baby's temperature is too high or something. So.
Well, then where is the baby? Where is the information coming from the baby? This isn't interesting. So by the end of the year, everything's going to be connected?
Well, I doubt if it's going to be by the end of the year. As we were talking with Dale, there's a lot of people that won't do it, a lot of people that don't understand it, a lot of people that are afraid of it. It's going to happen. I mean, it's just going to happen. I mean, that's where we're headed, whether it's good, bad, or ugly.
It's moving fast.
It's moving fast. So either embrace it, try to learn about it, or...
We were just talking off the air about ways and when, like the government, who is very slow and methodical on everything, will have to flip the switch and address these upcoming issues.
Well, one of the main things we have to address is cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity, indeed.
I mean, our government is way behind on that.
It was like what was that 60 Minutes article or something, the interview, they were in the bunker. They were in a nuke bunker, and the lady who had been taught the processes in college was top of the line. Then she gets to the bunker, and they're still using 5 1/4 floppy disks.
They still have those around?
They do in the bunker. And I don't know if nobody's gotten the message to the people in the bunker that they've got flash drives now, or the technology. But then at some point you also have to say, well, the technology is so old that it's unhackable. So should we keep it old? It's not
connected to the internet. It's not
that brings up an interesting point. I think it was I don't remember exact year, maybe 2012, maybe 2008. I think it was 2012 when over in, I think it was, now I'm getting everything all confused, but somebody tried to shut down the internet, right?
Uh-huh.
They shut off the whole internet, but that was just the cable lines. The old phone lines were still connected. So you could use dial-up to actually get online.
Ah.
So the old infrastructure is still there if you know how to find it. So I don't know. It's all very interesting, and we could talk forever on it. Other things that are in the news, it's just been rainy today, so our weather is looking pretty good. There's been some your regular bumper accidents, but nothing major anywhere that I can see around here. Your usual I-5 issues that happen.
I have a news.
Other than that, what is your news?
I have a news story here
Okay.
for us, coming to us from, where did it go? Alex Stone has this report. A scare for passengers. What time is it? 8:44. Actually, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll tell you about a scare for passengers on a United flight from Spokane to Denver, happening today in Spokane. That'll be right after this break on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Gateway Property Management says, don't kill yourself shoveling snow. It is extremely hard work and it can bring on a heart attack. Gateway Property Management reminds you that a heart attack while shoveling snow is a major cause of death during winter months.
Here's a wintertime safe driving tip from our community credit union. Be ready to adapt your driving to generate traction. If you find your car sliding, ease off the accelerator. Avoid using your brakes. Our community credit union says safe winter driving requires being extra alert and careful.
Taylor Shellfish is a proud sponsor of the Environmentally Sound program. For 5 generations, the Taylor family's been stewards of a healthy and prosperous Puget Sound. In partnership with nature, Taylor Shellfish brings you the freshest, most sustainable shellfish you'll ever eat. Visit their store at 136 Southeast Lynch Road. Open daily from 10 to 6, and they're online at TaylorShellfishFarms.com.
Mason County Garbage and Recycling on Johns Prairie here in Shelton is pleased to offer safe and efficient removal services. Mason County Garbage and Recycling is always mindful of environmental standards and is continuously striving for the highest excellence. Mason County Garbage and Recycling, upholding your trust within the community. Questions? Call 426-8729. In Belfair, 275-4590.
Yeah, hey, Art, how you doing?
Okay, sir.
I got a quick story. I was in California, and I was basically babysitting my mom's apartment. She had taken a week vacation to Las Vegas, and I was laying on the couch watching TV, and she had a big mirror on the mantle above the fireplace, and I had the sliding glass door shut. You know, there was no wind, and the mirror, like, flew off about 3 or 4 feet, and it scared the heck out of me.
Midnight in the Desert with Art Bell, live weeknights 9 to midnight on KMAS.
Tune in all season long to NFL Insider on Westwood One. Hi, this is Mark Malone. Join me each week as we whip around the league and break down the NFL. We'll hear from today's stars and yesterday's heroes as James Lofton sits down with a fellow member of the Hall of Fame. We'll also check in with former greats Rod Woodson and Donovan McNabb to help us break down all the latest NFL news. That's NFL Insider right here.
Sunday morning at 6:30 on KMAS.
Hi, this is Jackie McAlevey from Splash, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Well, good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at KMAS, 8:48. Have about 10 minutes left here in the show. Will Farmer will be popping in before we get to ABC News and Tom Hartman throughout the rest of the morning. Carol's here with me, and Carol's finding some interesting notes from days gone by.
Yeah, did you know 1933 is when the Golden Gate Bridge construction began in San Francisco?
So everybody was getting done with the new year. Everybody's shaking off the doldrums of 1932 and says, let's start fresh. Let's do something.
Let's build a bridge.
I heard that the bridge gets painted and it's like one person's job to paint the bridge and it takes a year. Did you ever hear that? That was an old tale that I was told a long time ago. I always believed it, that at the beginning, so like today or Monday, somebody would be up there starting to paint on one side. And then December 31st-ish, it'd be on the other side by the Muir Woods. And every year they just You never heard that?
No, but that would be a strange job for one person to paint.
Well, it takes a year. That's why it takes a year. It's just one person.
I guess that would be very interesting.
Whatever.
All right. How about something? We were talking sports earlier,
Yeah.
not baseball. Well, we were talking baseball for Hall of Famers.
Griffey's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. 1934, both the National and American Baseball Leagues decided to use a uniform-sized baseball. It's the first time in 33 years, back in 34, that the leagues used the same size ball. I did not know they were two different sizes. That's interesting.
And why would they do that, I wonder?
Have two different sizes?
Yeah, just say, well, I'm not doing what you're doing.
I don't know. Started in two different. Yeah, exactly. Then it's like, well, if we're going to play against each other.
We should probably have the same set of rules.
Yeah, exactly.
You like baseball? What's your favorite sport?
I do love baseball, but I do love football too.
You're a football fan?
Yeah. But I guess I am a local sports fan. I love the Mariners baseball and I love the Seahawks football. I grew up, though, with football playing Sunday mornings on the TV. I mean, my dad was avid major football.
Well, and then being alumni of one of the greatest high school
Cougars,
football programs. Oh, I'm talking Tumwater THS.
Oh, Tumwater THS, yeah.
Alumni of one of the greatest football programs in the state of Washington.
That is true. So football has always been in my family, so it's probably just been a part of me. I would say my brother played Tumwater football years ago.
Interesting. Hey, football's pretty fun. There's something about a summer day, though, and you pop on the radio, and you got the Mariners. And you have a barbecue.
Right.
That's great.
I mean, it's just the rhythm of the games are just, so different.
Oh, completely.
So it's probably a good thing that football happens in the winter.
March 2 is the first preseason Mariners game. We're happy to have the Mariners this year, and we'll have them for you often as they work their way through. They got new managers, new coaches, new players. One of their greats is going to be inducted, I would say almost unanimously. I don't know who would vote against Griff.
I don't know either.
Unless there's some sports reporter that used to play against him.
But don't they put up one shirt or one number? So is it going to be the Mariners or is it going to be...
Oh, it has to be the Mariners, the Reds. He's not going to go.
I don't know.
He's from Cincinnati. I get it.
I bet it's going to be the Reds.
What? I don't know.
I hope it's the Mariners, but I bet it'll be the Reds.
It's like when Randy Johnson went in, he was a Diamondback.
Yeah.
Because he won all the awards with the Diamondbacks. Griffey was such a key to the Mariners. You got to go as a Mariner.
Well, you would like to think that, yeah. You would like to think that. So, Jeff, do you watch any soap operas anymore?
No, not anymore. In college, I watched Passions all the time.
See, I don't even know what that is.
It's a weird one. It's got like ghosts and goblins and ghouls.
Okay, so 1970, All My Children premiered on ABC. I thought it was older than that.
With Susan Lucci, is that one?
Yeah. And that one's still going. Is that one? No, did that go off the air or did Susan Lucci leave it? I don't remember, but
final episode date 2011.
Yeah, okay.
September 23. Those kids of Pine Valley.
Yeah, 1970. I remember it was on during the daytime at home. I don't know if my mom watched it or she just had the TV on while she was doing everything else. I don't think she ever sat down and watched the show. It was just on.
Gotta watch my soaps.
Yeah. So I think it was just on in the background, but I don't think I ever really watched it a lot. It was just sort of on and I always knew about it. One of those things you just sort of have in the background.
It's amazing that they film those shows every day.
Yeah.
Those guys and gals work every day. And it's a new show every day. Now, if you watch an episode, they're very quick cuts. I mean, it's like 2-minute vignettes of each person's story. But still, they're filming every day.
Except for Saturday.
Probably. They don't film on the weekends, depending on the schedule.
Probably not.
But that's amazing.
Right.
Those soaps.
I know.
What, they're great.
Here's another old one. I don't know if you ever heard about Mr. Ed. And that debuted in 1961.
I mean, I wasn't born in a cave. I know who Mr. Ed is. I'm not that young.
All right.
I watched Mr. Ed on reruns on Nickelodeon.
I guess I shouldn't.
Right before the monkeys.
You're right. The talking horse. That's funny.
It's a horse, of course.
It's a horse, of course.
Nobody could talk to a horse, of course.
That's right. What else is going on with you?
Charlie Rose is a great interviewer. It's his birthday today. He's the guy that only has, it's all black, and he's got the wood table, and it's just him and the other guests.
Yeah.
He's a great interviewer, talk show host on PBS 74. We were talking about PBS early with the Sherlock debut, and the show's coming back out. Diane Keaton, 70. She was in Annie Hall. And let's see, who else? January Jones, who was on Mad Men and some of the X-Men movies. She's 39. Your birthday, happy birthday to you. Sam Phillips was the founder of Sun Records, and he was the first ever to record the King, Elvis Presley. So Sam Phillips from 1923 to 2003. It's 8:55 here at KMAS, KMAS.com. A good morning to you. Still getting things underway in the year 2016. Check out KMAS.com. There are stories and articles about various meetings that have been going on. There was a legislative send-off that just got wrapped up about 25 minutes ago. And Friday, we will welcome from the 35th District, Drew McEwen into the studio for our first visit with him. And then following week, the session gets underway on the 11th. And we'll be monitoring things that are happening in Olympia and talk with our local representatives throughout the session here.
And I will mention again that we're going to have our legislative link up on you can catch that link probably under our news links, and it'll be our representatives. It'll be their contact information, so you can email them, you can go to their website, you can call their political office. We'll have that information. So if you want to get involved, which I think you should get involved, and I think they make it easier with using the website and etc. And you can ask them things, find out about things,
Twitter,
keep
and
up
all
to
that
date.
stuff.
Yeah, a lot of them have Facebook pages, Twitter accounts. You can follow them, see what's going on.
If you've got questions that you'd like us to ask any of the legislatures, feel free to email daybreak@kmas.com or send us messages over our Facebook page, facebook.com/1030KMAS, or you can
Twitter.
Direct message us on Tweet Us.
Yes, you can definitely do that.
Okay. Good. We got that taken all care of, and we encourage you to check out the trending section on KMAS.com. Currently, the number one trending story is that the city offers a hand up to the county, and this was from the other day. Got some great comments on there as well, and people are making their voices heard, and very important to do so. 8:56 puts the wraps on the show here this morning. We'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday. Carol, have a great day.
Jeff, you too.
Thank you. It's Daybreak on KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Previously on the Under the Hood show.
This would be Glenn.
Hey, Glenn, go ahead.
I've got an 87 Honda that I just picked up for a song, like $100, and it runs beautifully at 305,000 miles.
Quite impressive.
But when you start it, you have to start it 3 times to get the automatic choke to kick in properly.
So what, Glenn? It was $100.
Get Under the Hood, Saturdays at noon on AM 1030, FM 1033, and KMAS.com.
Don't pour the bubbly down the drain. A fun use for leftover champagne today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Tuesday, January 5th, the 5th day of the year. Actor Robert Duvall has a birthday, and it was 55 years ago today that a talking horse made his TV debut. Mr. Ed, of course. Still have some bubbly left over from your New Year's celebration? Don't pour it down the drain. When exposed to air, champagne eventually turns to vinegar that would otherwise otherwise be quite expensive. Here's how. Pour the champagne into clean jars covered only with a paper towel. After 6 weeks, cap the jars and store in the pantry for up to 6 months. Then use the champagne vinegar for cooking or in your favorite vinaigrette recipe. People who've tried it say it's quite mild and surprisingly delicious. There is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. You can find more household tips online. Just go to almanac.com.
The Chad Benson Show.
But you can't attack Trump and not expect to get hammered. And where the Republicans are missing this is he is paving the way to victory if they would just listen. He's giving them a rule book on how to play the media and, most importantly, how to handle crisis.
The Chad Benson Show.
Hi, this is Chad Benson. Please check out my show this afternoon from 3 to 6 on KMAS News Radio.
Mornings start with Daybreak on KMAS Shelton. Join Jeff and Dale weekdays from 6 to 9 on AM 1030, FM 1033, and KMAS.com.
Hi, this is Alex Jones on KMAS News Radio. First, they disarm the people, then they disarm the police, the state police, the local police, except for special paramilitary special event police. That's why exchange programs sound reasonable.